Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our Spring Quarter Tech Bootcamp Demo Day. This is, I think, our 6th demo day. It has been a very successful program. So successful that now, for the first time in Spring Quarter, this is officially an engineering course. It's Engineering 170. It's a 4-unit credit course, which wasn't before. Appreciate your attendance this evening. Just a few logistics. So I would like to introduce the format of the bootcamp today. So basically, we're going to have 6 student teams present today. Each team will present 20 minutes, and then the judges will have 10 minutes after that to ask questions to each team. I asked for those who are not presenting, and if you're not a judge, please turn off your video and mute your audio, please, so that there are no distractions to the other teams. So other than the judges and the presenting teams, please turn off your video and mute your audio. Students, I will be signaling, look for my hand signal 5 minutes before the end of your time, and also 2-minute warning, 5-minute warning, and 2-minute warning. The teams, the order of the teams is random. It's not in any specific order. It was just a random number generator. That's how the order of the presentations are. Chat has been disabled so there are no distractions to the teams. And if you set your presentation to speaker view, you're going to have the best view in terms of your presenter's view. I would like to introduce the judges. Thank you so much. We have 4 judges today. If you can turn off your video, if you're not presenting, if you can turn off your video, please. We have 4 judges today. I'd like to introduce them. Thank you so much for accepting to judge today. Beth from JPL. She's the interim CIO at JPL. She's a UCLA alum. We have Ami Koje from Mattel, Director of Software Engineering. Thank you. Kelly Hamilton, CIO of Sony Pictures. Thank you, Kelly. And Leah Erickson, CIO of City of Long Beach. So thank you so much. We have 4 judges. So they're going to have an opportunity to ask questions after your presentations. And then at the end, after all 6 teams have presented, we will be deliberating to announce the winning team. The judges have already reviewed your pitches and your other deliverables, so they have an idea about your pitches today. I also want to thank the planning committee. We spent about 2 months, actually about a quarter, to plan this. That's why we only offer this bootcamp in the spring and the fall, because in the summer and in the winter quarter, we basically just plan the bootcamp for the following quarter. The coaches, we have 6 coaches who, for the past 2 months, they have been just magnificent. They have really worked with the students day and night. I see the traffic on Slack, and they've just been awesome. We had 3 coaches from Sony Pictures. We had 1 coach from JPL, we had 1 coach from City of Long Beach, and we had Sumita, who is an entrepreneur. 3 of the coaches are returning for the 3rd time. This is their 3rd time coaching. Andy from Sony, Barang from City of Long Beach, and Sumita. This is their 3rd time. We also have, we have 3 alums. We had Rob Maxwell from Sony. He's a UCLA alum. We had Sumita, who's an Anderson grad, and also Linny, Mr. from JPL. He's an engineering graduate degree, master's in engineering from UCLA. I also want to thank the speakers. We had speakers each session for 6 weeks on various topics, from project management to UI UX, how to pitch. So the speakers were presented for 45 minutes each Wednesday. And then after that, the students would break out into their rooms with their coaches to discuss their projects. So thank you all the speakers. We also had session experts, and some of them are here too, who would come in. They did not present, but they were just there for the students to bounce ideas off, and just kind of subject matter experts. They were basically helping the students to kind of review their ideas, come up with some questions, and just challenge the teams in terms of their idea and their pitches. So thank you all the session experts as well. Okay, now we're ready to get started. So I'm going to be timing. So if you hear the timer, I'm sure you're going to be able to hear the timer. I'm going to be timing each team for 20 minutes. So the first team that will present is Team 4, Health Tech, Rosetta. So you have share access. Please get your presentation ready.
Okay, hello everyone. We are Rosetta Health, and I can show you how we are reimagining health data accessibility and transparency. Allow me to introduce our wonderful team made up of design and development cohorts. My name is Maggie, and I'm on the design team, and I'm a senior studying molecular biology.
Hi everyone, I'm Nancy. I'm also part of the design team, and I'm a third-year data theory major.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm also a member of the design team, and I'm a fourth-year student of cognitive science.
Hi, my name is Wolf, and I'm a second-year statistics major, and I'm part of the development team.
Hi, my name is Anushka. I'm part of the development team, and I'm a first-year computational and systems biology major.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel. I'm part of the dev team, and I'm a third-year data theory major. And with us as our industry coach, we have Sumita.
A few months ago, my doctor ordered me to take what he called routine blood tests. He handed me a paper with the names of a few blood tests and told me to give it to my lab technician, let them take my blood, and he'd get back to me with the results in a few days. I did just that, and a few days later, I got my results, the healthy range, and a message from my doctor saying everything looks good. While it helped ease my nerves to know how my results compared to this healthy range, I was still a bit concerned. Why did my doctor want me to take these tests in the first place? What exactly were they looking for during these tests? And what can I do to stay in these healthy ranges? Rosetta is not a tool that is meant to replace your doctor. Instead, it acts as a bridge between the two of you by providing easy to understand information that can answer your most basic questions. Rosetta is for the person who has questions but may not be able to schedule time with their doctor to discuss all of them, the person who doesn't have a healthcare provider that gives them even the most basic information like the healthy range, or the person who likes to keep track of their own health data and see their progress over time.
The specific problem that we were aiming to address is making medical tests both accessible and understandable, especially for underserved patients, such as those covered by Medicaid. To dig deeper into this problem, we interviewed medical and business professionals, Dr. Laura Santoso, Dr. Julio Latour, and Samir Akre from the UCLA Biodesign Fellows Program, and Professor Dan Benjamin, who helped us identify our pain point that the average patient has only a 6th grade level of medical fluency, as well as help us make a human-centered design for patients with low medical literacy.
Rosetta puts the power of knowledge back into the hands of the patients. Each page that represents a different blood test includes information on what the test looks for, its function in the body, why the test is done, relevant risk factors, the generally accepted healthy range, and lifestyle choices that may affect the results of your test. Making test results easy to understand is not a new concept, but the existing platforms that do this are only accessible if your healthcare provider gives you access to them. We don't hold any special features behind subscriptions or memberships, and you only need to make an account if you want to track your data over time or save articles to your profile. If you have access to the internet, you have access to all of Rosetta's services.
Now on to the undeniable underlying magic of Rosetta. On the left, we have some images of Rosetta's interface that showcase the 3 pillars of Rosetta's magic, which are its streamlined user interface, the emphasis on data privacy, and its unprecedented medical translation. Rosetta's simple, intuitive design is a reflection of its core tenets of accessibility and democratization of healthcare. The incumbents like MyChart Health Portals and WebMD have cluttered analog systems that are difficult to use and make navigating your health data needlessly stressful. Rosetta instead offers an easy-to-use interface designed with psychologically proven calming blues and greens, welcoming the user, and seamlessly guiding them to the answers that they need. Furthermore, Rosetta offers options to either upload one time or save your data, providing a flexible, secure model that caters to all users. In this day and age, the preciousness of your personal data cannot be understated, and therefore Rosetta uniquely addresses the pain point of data privacy with options to either browse anonymously or upload your data without worry. Finally, Rosetta was named for its function as a Rosetta Stone. It's a tool that takes the inscrutable medical terminology and translates it to layman's terms. Rosetta was created because although vast libraries of medical knowledge are readily available, they're not useful to most patients, since 90% of Americans are not medically literate. Rosetta offers a simple presentation of digestible information, focusing on relevant lifestyle-based information that they can readily understand and apply to their everyday lives. This unique approach eliminates the fear, anxiety, and confusion that are so often associated with medical test results. Rosetta is proud to serve underrepresented and marginalized groups, and therefore plans to become a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This business model will allow us to remain free to users, a fundamental aspect of the Rosetta philosophy. Therefore, to fund our initiative, we will use grant funding from the California Healthcare Foundation Innovation Fund, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, and a Hearst Health Prize. The Chcf Fund will be our first mode of funding, as it's designed for early to growth stage companies with the goal to aid California's Medicaid ecosystem, which is our exact target demographic. The grant would provide us with funding between $50,000 and $250,000 for the seed stage. We will also seek funding from the CZI, which provides generous donations to initiatives in science, with comparable early stage nonprofits receiving between $10,000 and $200,000. We will also compete for the Hearst Health Prize of $100,000 for data science initiatives in healthcare. Additionally, once we are established as a nonprofit, we will be open to tax-deductible donations for additional funding.
And next, I'll be introducing our market size. So first, we have the total population in the US, which is approximately 320 million. According to a Pfizer study, among us all, only 10% are considered proficient in medical knowledge. And this means that the rest 90% of the US population potentially needs some kind of medical translational service. And that's 280 million people. This is our total available market. And around 1/3 of the total population is identified as low income, which accounts for almost 100 million people in the US. These are the people who are usually covered by Medicaid and are most likely to benefit from our products. When we conducted interviews with people covered by Medicaid, we received confirmation that Rosetta being free, translational, and easy to navigate around is super beneficial to them. And then among the low income group, 1.4 million of them live in the Los Angeles area. And as a local startup, we will start by promoting our product to them as they are our prioritized market. And next, advertising is key for us to reach our users. And here is a tentative plan in terms of our capital allocation for advertising. All of the numbers are calculated based on certain percentages of our projected funding for the years 2022 through 2026. Since we want to make a name for our products as soon as we launch it, we're investing 20% of the projected funding in 2022 for advertising, which is $92,000. And we're allocating 15% of the projected funding in 2023, which gives us $71,000. And as you can see, the numbers start to level off in 2024. The strategy behind this marketing plan is that we really want to push our product to the market in the first 2 years. And then from 2024 to 2026, as our brand and product mature, we will allocate less money for advertising, which is around 8 or 9% of the total funding each year. And then our main ways of advertising are through collaborating with streaming services and media platforms like YouTube, Hulu, and regular TV ads. Some other potential ways include TikTok, in-feed advertising, and radio advertising. And the reason why we want to focus on advertising on YouTube is because YouTube has the potential to reach 80% of the US population, and 70% of YouTube users report that the ads actually make them aware of new brands, which will be perfect for our purpose. And moreover, since YouTube and Hulu are increasing their Hispanic-related content, they will attract more users from the Spanish-speaking community, and a lot of them are underserved, speak limited English, and live in the LA area. which in turn aligns with our own target user population. As for regular TV ads and radio ads, we want to reach people who are more comfortable with traditional methods of receiving ads and who are less comfortable with new technology. For instance, the older population, which accounts for 54 million people in the US.
Now let us take a look at some of the health apps currently available on the market. In general, our competitors fall into two categories. We have the information publishers and the personalized trackers. With Rosetta, we have developed an integrated platform where our users are both able to analyze their medical reports and have the necessary explanations for the different medical terms. Here are some advantages that Rosetta has over the other apps. A key differentiating feature of our website is that we give our users the choice as to which information they would like to store on the app. This is especially important in today's society due to the greater emphasis placed on data privacy and user data autonomy. We would like to assure our users that their data is only for their own personal viewing and no one else's. This table also further summarizes why Rosetta is better than the other types of health apps. So firstly, we know of the native health apps we have in our smartphones. And due to our target demographic coming from low-income families, we chose to focus our analysis on Android health apps, mainly Google Health, Samsung Health, and Huawei Health. In general, these apps share similar features, such as the ability to track their blood pressure or their daily step count. However, what these apps do not do is that they do not delve deeper into more complex medical tests and explanations of the difficult medical jargon. Also, there are some features which are only available if you have specific expensive hardware, such as your smartwatches, and we know that our target demographic is unable to afford such products. Next, we have our generic health portals provided by your insurance. Some examples of insurance would be like UCLA Health Portal or the Stanford Health Portal. However, in general, these services are only provided for those who subscribe to health insurance, and we know a bulk of our low-income families do not have access to such health insurance and such premiums. Lastly, we have the information publishers, with the most famous one of all being WebMD. However, what WebMD does not provide is that you are unable to have personalized tracking of a patient's medical trend, and the information they provide is not really easy to understand, especially for our users with low medical literacy. So overall, with Rosetta, we have developed a website with all the features that our users value. Here are some potential updates which we would like to incorporate in Rosetta in the future. Of course, we do acknowledge that the next important update will be dependent on the feedback of the users of our first prototype. But before we receive that information, we have planned ahead some features that we deem important to include to remain competitive in the market. So firstly, we hope to collect more data from our users with their consent, of course, so that we can include more diverse and inclusive markers for the different medical tests. We want our users to be able to compare with people similar to them, be it by race, their nationality, or their gender, instead of using the generic markers that most medical tests have now. Secondly, we hope to develop compatibility with other languages on our website, starting with Spanish. We aim to reach out to more non-English speakers who may not have any resources available to them currently in the US. And lastly, we hope to diversify our products to include more than just blood tests. Through the expertise of our doctors and others in the medical profession, we hope to be able to explain more different types of medical tests. Overall, these future updates tie in strongly with our business plan and our pillars of accessibility, accountability, and affordability.
Outlined below is a graph projecting Rosetta's 5-year financial growth. Our funding is derived from, as mentioned before, the Chcf Fund, the CZI Fund, and the Hearst Health Prize. Our expenses are broken down into fundraising, administration, and program costs. We project fundraising and admin expenses to decrease year over year as Rosetta becomes more self-reliant and allocate more capital into program expenses. Next, according to Charity Navigator, a trusted nonprofit evaluation, an ideal nonprofit such as the American Red Cross Association or the CDC Foundation use around 80% or more of their expenses on program costs, a measure that reflects total expenses a charity spends on programs and services it exists to deliver. And for Rosetta, there are costs. These are costs associated to research and web development. Next, we plan to allocate less than 2% of our total budget to admin costs. Admin expenses reflect the total budget that we spend on overhead, administrative staff and associated costs, and organizational meetings. Lastly, fundraising expenses reflect what we spend to raise money on brand marketing, including campaign printing, publicity, and advertising costs. Finally, outlined below is a summary of our business timeline. In 2022, Rosetta will roll out its product and services to the LA community, especially targeting the low-income community of around 1.4 million individuals. We will launch our venture through seed funding and grants. In 2023, we expect to improve and expand our product features from test information, such as expanding to comprehensive metabolic panel tests and other blood tests, as well as just more information, to language compatibility, especially in Spanish-speaking communities. And in the following year, Rosetta plans to expand its donor base across California, an estimated low-income population of around 6 million. And lastly, in 2025, we will continue to expand our user and donor base and receive funding from more philanthropic organizations and corporate sponsorships. And these corporate sponsorships will come both from insurance companies as well as Fortune 500 companies or any other company that wants to subsidize health insurance for their employees. And as we continue to grow, we will continue to reimagine and improve healthcare data, accessibility, and transparency. Thank you for listening, and I will pass it off to Nishka to show you our demo.
Thanks, Wolf. Now let's take a look at Rosetta in action. As you can see, as soon as you open our website, it has a very simple and easy to use interface and is pleasant to the eye, automatically easing the nervous patient. One of the main reasons we chose a website over a mobile app was for accessibility, because as Paula mentioned, as long as you have access to the internet, you have access to Rosetta. Now, aligning with our principle of anonymity, Rosetta allows you to immediately search up a test, range, or keyword. Conversely, you can also securely upload a record, either through manual input or through a health record, which our website will parse, which is part of our future steps. Now, back to the search page. Let's say we search up an ALT test. An ALT test is essentially a blood test that checks for the progress of certain liver diseases and treatments. And one of the reasons we chose it for our demo is because it's a test that affects a lot of our target demographic, and it's also a niche test that not many other informational pages have. Here, under our top result, we can see a little summary of what an ALT test is. Below that, you can find ALT-related tests, which could be useful if you forgot the name of a test you were looking for or are looking for a similar test. Now, let's say we click on this button, which will take us to a more in-depth breakdown of what an ALT test is. As Maggie had mentioned, we focus on easily digestible information. So here we break down not only what an ALT test is, but get to the core of what the test means for the patient. This includes why it is administered, as well as relevant risk factors and lifestyle choices. When interviewed, Dr. Santoso and Dr. Tor had also stressed the importance of preventative care through lifestyle choices, which many doctors do not have the time to explain in the short amount of time their patients are with them, which we aim to do here. There's also an interactive portion where users can compare their ALT levels with the healthy range. When working with our prototype, we didn't use alerts or red warning signs when a level was out of the healthy range to stray away from inducing any anxiety, but instead promoting self-tracking and improvement. Now, while we don't require you to sign in, doing so allows you to save your data and see trends over time. Let me log in here. And assuming I'm a new user, I'm going to create an account. When signing up for Rosetta, as Nathaniel mentioned, we ensure that you know that we practice data privacy under Hipaa Compliance, bringing some comfort knowing that your data is protected. This would basically load to a terms and conditions PDF. And here I'm going to agree with our terms and conditions and sign up. After creating an account, we just have to re-log in. Now we can go to the home screen where you can see your previous uploads. So here, this would be your uploaded medical records. You can also see your data as well as trends in your data as the year went by. Now I can also bookmark a test For example, if I go back and search up an ALT test, I can bookmark it right here. And if I go back to my home page, this will show up in my bookmark tests. And this is really useful if I want to look at a test in the future or want to refer to it later. Our website allows for users to pick and choose what test they want to monitor. Again, aligning with our principle of allowing the user to choose what they want to see and monitor. Thanks for listening to our presentation and learning about Rosetta, where we reimagine healthcare accessibility and transparency one person at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosetta. Now it's time for judges to ask questions. We have 10 minutes for judges to ask questions.
So one question I've got for the group is, as I'm sure many of you are aware, Dr. Google can sometimes be more of a curse than a blessing. Have you thought about how Rosetta Health would help deter people from self-diagnosis when they do have a result outside the normal range?
Hi, Kelly. Yeah, thank you for that question. I think you bring up, a really relevant point, and almost one of the reasons that we created Rosetta. So I'll actually refer you to Nathaniel, who can make a comparison for you.
Yeah, so based on our research, one of the main factors of why people misdiagnose themselves is because they look at the symptoms rather than their actual test results. So first of all, for Rosetta, we only allow users to look at the range of their results and of the results that they've already taken from actual medical doctors. And what the range does is to encourage them to actually seek out their doctors for more information if they see that it is outside the healthy range. We don't give them the opportunity to speculate by providing illnesses on our website, which include symptoms like what other websites do. So we hope that by doing so, what the information they receive from our website is mainly objective, and it just shows what their results mean rather than what their results could be, which all other websites do. Does that answer your question?
It does.
So yeah, I had a question. So I noticed you mentioned that it's a web page and not an app. But is the web page designed to be mobile friendly? Is question number one. And number two, in terms of loading test results, can that be done as a picture on a phone, or does the document have to be a certain format?
Yeah, no, you bring up some really great concerns for us there. I'm going to refer you to Anushka, who can elaborate more for us.
Yeah, so I think one of the main reasons we chose a website was that basically we were kind of debating between an app and a website. And so I think a website just allows for anyone who has access to the internet to access us, and we are making it mobile friendly. And I think an app, it restricts you in a way because you have to have a phone, and then also it makes sure that you won't have to take up storage. And if it's a new app, you may or may not download it. But if it's a website, you can just access it from anywhere. And as for uploading documents, I think one of the reasons that is a future step we are working towards. And what it would be is you would go to any healthcare platform that you have, or whichever blood test report that you got, and just upload the document there. And then what our website would do is it would parse through the data, and even if it's different formats, it would be able to parse through it. And then it would allow the user to go through and select, okay, even though I uploaded all these tests, I can select which one I want to remove or keep, and then I can have all these results also uploaded in. So if it's a large document with several results, it will make sure the user knows which ones they're uploading, even if they go through the document method. Does that answer?
Yeah, just as a follow-up. So is it going to include image recognition technology to determine what test is what the test results are? And I guess the next question is, would it, then record the test results, or does the user have to do a manual entry?
Yeah, so it would be able to recognize what test you are inputting, and then also immediately kind of like format it, kind of like when you do a resume upload. This would just like when you upload a resume document and it like parses through and figures out like what you've done in the past. There's many like job sites where you just upload it and then it will parse through that. That's kind of what technology we would be using, but then they can still choose to manually upload records if they would like to do so. Or even once they upload the document, they'll be given a confirmation screen that allows them to select the specific results they may or may not want to include as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, go ahead. I'll just ask a quick question. Thank you very much. Question regarding what process or mechanisms are you using to translate the medical terminology? One of your differentiators was around, making people more proficient in medical by putting it in layman's terms. What process are you using in terms of doing that for scaling and maintenance over time?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Beth. And I think that points towards one of our most important pillars, which is accessibility of the information. So how we were doing that thus far was using the information that we got from our medical doctors that were our consultants. And that was our plan moving forward, was using them as a resource of vetting the information and using them like pooled like their expertise to make sure, that everything that was published was, looked over by a professional. But something that we emphasize in Rosetta is it's not medical advice. And that was something that was emphasized to us, was none of this is being branded as, your doctor telling you information. The information is vetted by medical professionals, but it's not the same as talking to your doctor. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Beth.
Hi, my name is Amoka J, and the question is, obviously, the nature of the data that would be uploaded to Rosetta is sensitive. What concrete steps are you planning to take to protect that data from getting into the wrong hands? And since there is the opportunity for folks to log in and create an account, thereby potentially identifying information with sensitive information, how are you planning to protect and secure that?
Awesome question, Amoka J. Thank you. That the data privacy is one of our big pillars, so I'm glad that you bring that up. I'm going to refer you to Nancy to talk about our Hipaa compliance.
Hi, thank you for the question, and thank you, Maggie. So basically, we have our terms and conditions, which is adapted from Apple Health and WebMD. So we follow the guidelines of keeping our customers or users' data under the Hipaa compliance and also under the California state law. So, and also we have the feature of securely uploading your data. So which means that if you have insecure network connection or any kind of like insecurity we like detected, then you will not be able to upload your data. So we really make sure that all the data that you upload onto our website will be secured and under the Hipaa compliance.
Thanks. Just a real quick follow-up. Yeah, you obviously with Hipaa, you wouldn't share data that's shared with you in an unauthorized fashion. How would you protect from attackers who are trying to break into your system? And I forget the second part of your response, but I had a follow-up question. I forget. So we'll just stick to the first part. How would you protect against attackers versus you actually resharing or reselling data? What systems do you have in place to make sure that? Oh yeah, and I also remember my second part. You talked about the data that's transmitted to Rosetta. What about when it's already on your systems? Where is the data stored? What systems are you going to have in place to make sure that these same bad actors can get access to it?
Yes, of course. So all of our data, which from the users who actually have an account with us, then all the data will be stored on the AWS cloud platform, which is apparently under Hipaa compliance, and they already have a very established system dealing with all the data privacy and security stuff. So I hope that answers the question.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other quick question for the group. I was listening to your strategy around marketing and was curious, why did you elect not to include partnerships with either local health agencies or providers who have direct relationships with the patients that you are hoping to serve?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Kelly. I think Nancy can answer this one a little bit about her market plan.
Yes, so I think part of our reason for mainly advertising through online platforms is that we do not want to target like specific users because that's for privacy concerns and for consideration. So what we'll do is just to push our products to whoever sees it on the platform instead of like really going into with healthcare agencies to, like who has the actual like sensitive data for clients. Does that answer the question?
It does answer the question, yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're out of time for questions. Thank you, team. All right, the next team who is going to be presenting is Team 2, EdTech 1, Strawberry Go-Go. Let me know when you're ready so I can start the timer. Ready?
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, then give me one more minute.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to ProCap, a language learning app you wouldn't want to quit. So have you ever tried to learn a language and then quit because of the lack of incentives? About 40% of the population speaks only one language. However, there are many benefits of learning a new language, some of which include boosting cognitive functions, expanding your worldview, and enhancing and improving memory. And besides that, learning different languages also introduces you to a variety of cultures and allow you to make connections with people from diverse backgrounds. In a world that's increasingly becoming globalized, it's more important than ever to know a few languages. So we conducted some market research and we found that there was a $3.6 billion market for current language learning apps. However, there exists a niche for novelty, gamification, and interactivity through the mobile platform. And there's a market gap that no current apps support, integration with different cultures, disabled communities, and the fun of learning a language with a friend. So with these motivations in mind, our team came together this quarter to design an app we're really passionate about. So we'll start by introducing you to our EdTech team.
Hola, my name is Reno.
Hi, my name is Sammy.
大家好, my name is Ro.
Namaste, my name is Aryan.
Xin chào mọi người, my name is Ryan.
Mingalaba, my name is A.
Swadika, my name is Becky.
And we'd like to thank our team coach Barong for guiding us throughout our project.
So to start our project, we had to look at the competitive landscape of language learning apps. We divided the user experience of language learning apps into 3 parts: the learning, the community, and also the price. Our product ProCap focuses on learning language in the context of daily life and culture, provides customized feature for the vocabulary list and the game groups, and includes our unique multiplayer game feature. We found that interacting with friends is a strong incentive for learning languages. Another unique value proposition of ProCap is that we aim to present our app for free, while most of the competitors require membership fee or have the premium versions. So as many of you know, Duolingo is probably the most well-known language app right now. We specifically invested its strengths and weakness based on our user surveys and online report. So Duolingo claims to be the best way to learn language because the simple learning process makes the user think learning is easy and fun. However, users actually lose interest in the repetitive process after using Duolingo for a while, and it cannot be customized for each individual's level. Thus, users lack an incentive and totally depend on their own self-discipline to learn. Although, even though the app enables sound detecting so that users can detect and test their pronunciation, learning language without a context is boring, and users still don't know how to use the language to communicate with all the passive skills they gained.
As part of our design process, we conducted user research to explore where language learning apps were failing users. Many grievances with Duolingo were that the app is too simple at times, making it boring. People are not having fun, wanted more practical phrases, wanted to learn through actual conversations, and wanted more motivation. For one user who filled out our survey, once their streak on Duolingo was broken, nothing else really motivated them to continue. To illustrate and understand some of the unique experiences users have, we created multiple user personas and journeys. Take Tommy, for example. He's a freshman in college who will be studying abroad in Europe this summer. He wants to learn conversational phrases in Spanish and French to prepare himself for the trip and potentially engage with locals. However, one thing that keeps him from learning new languages on apps like Quizlet and Duolingo is his constant lack of motivation. Tommy hopes that these language apps will keep him engaged. Therefore, he begins practicing Spanish and French on Duolingo consistently. However, as the days go by, Tommy has started to feel too frustrated to continue learning due to the repetitive nature of the app. A friend of Tommy's heard about his dilemma and recommended Tommy to learn new languages with him through a multiplayer language gaming app. Tommy and his friend continued to play the language game. Together, everyone keeping each other accountable, and in the end got to the conversational level for both Spanish and French.
To address these concerns from our potential users, we believe our app can help them in their language learning ways different from our competitors. Our special underlying magic lies in 4 particular areas. First, our app can be used as a multiplayer game. Users will be able to work and collaborate together within games. They can and will learn from each other as they progress through ProCap. Secondly, friends and family can play the game both together in person and online. Maybe a group of friends or classmates need to study for a test. Their group can all hop on the app and study and play together. In addition to this, the games can be customized. The topics for the games and the group of friends might need to study can be imported into the game and they can play that game on the app. The ability to choose the topic and content of the game will really help people experience a curated language learning experience. On top of all of this, the app will be free. It will be available to anyone, anywhere with access to the internet and a mobile device. After we formulated the basic overview of the idea, we started the design process on Figma. We began by making the user flows as seen on the left. We then moved on to making the low fidelity screens as seen on the right to get a basic idea of what all components we might need on the app. After making the low fidelity screens, we made the high fidelity screens with the standardized buttons, text fonts, and sizes. Ultimately, we made the final prototype.
At this point of the presentation, A and I will be walking through a skit to illustrate a potential scenario of how a person who hopes to learn a new language might leverage our application. Reno will be sharing our prototype, and I'll be taking on the role of Tommy from the user persona depicted on our previous slides. Hey A, I'm studying abroad in Europe soon and want to brush up on my Spanish, but every time I download Duolingo, I lose interest within a couple weeks. Do you happen to have any ideas?
Hey, Tommy. Yeah, I just downloaded this app called ProCap where you can practice languages by playing games with your friends. Would you want to play a game together?
Yeah, I'll pull up the app right now.
You should create an account so that the app can save your progress.
All right, let me create an account right now.
So these are the games you can play. Which one do you want to play?
Ooh, Build a Bob sounds interesting. Would you want to play a game with me?
Sure. Make sure to choose multiplayer.
Ooh, Ooh, I love animals. Let's pick that category. And let's do Spanish.
All right, I just created a room. Can you put the code in your phone to join?
I just did. I'm ready to start the game if you are.
Okay, so when you start the game, Sensei Bobabee will give you a walkthrough on how to play the game. For Build a Bop, you can play the game with friends in real life or through your phone's mic to build sentences.
Oh, that's so cool. So if you wanted to build, if you needed the word quiero, I could swipe it to the right and pass the word to you so you can use it to build a kebab.
Exactly. And if there's a word you wanted to throw away, you could swipe it down to get rid of it.
Okay, great. And if you were playing remotely, it looks like we can use our phone mics to collaborate.
Yeah, I like ProCab a lot because you can play with your friends in real time or online.
That's so cool. All right, let's build some kebabs.
Yay, you made your first kebab in Spanish.
That was really fun. Thanks for playing with me, eh?
Yeah, of course. The best part of the game is in the end, you'll be taken to a review screen to go through all the sentences we've created together.
Wow, I see. Let's play again sometime soon. Next time we can do the travel category so I can prepare for my time in Europe.
Yeah, it's great.
As you saw from our ProCap demo, our app was designed with core principles of making language learning collaborative, in real time, and gamified. All these core principles were incorporated to address current language learning apps' pain points of a lack of incentive to use them long-term and an over-reliance on self-discipline. We fundamentally centered an immersive gamified experience by designing a collaborative education platform explorable with friends in person or completely online. In addition to these fleshed out prototype, we ideated 2 other games that center these core principles. One such game, which you can learn more about in our appendix, gamifies the experience of learning through flashcards. After discovering that 20% of K-12 students and more than 50% of college students report using flashcards, we sought out to design an immersively gamified flashcard experience for users.
Now we'd like to share aspects of our business model. As a free mobile app, ProCab needs to fund app development and business operations to be able to provide our service to students and other individuals or groups interested in fun language learning. We plan to do this by marketing ourselves to potential investors, company sponsors, and through grant funding. Our app's main goal is to share our mission of helping others learn, grow, and share in the power of language. As a nonprofit group, we are looking for partners who feel similar in this mission and are looking to help. We will reach out to universities, school programs, and cultural and language groups to find people who share our goals. We will look for investors who can support us in this, as well as apply to relevant grants that are for language learning in groups like us. Eventually, if acquisition becomes an option, we will work with a company that values our core mission statement and aligns with our goals. As for our business plan, we are looking long-term into the future. In our first year as a company, we will reach out to schools to help find users to beta test our app. We will be looking for students who are learning languages. Within our second to third year, we will market our product to universities and schools. This will include presenting the platform at educator conferences on the local level, as well as contacting school districts directly via sales representatives. Within schools, we will be looking for cultural groups, study abroad programs, and similar groups that have an interest in our product. We believe that by year 5, we can acquire access to the entire market, and from there on, continue to expand our customer base and workforce. To acquire new customers, we will advertise on platforms already used by educators and present at conferences on a greater scale. With this, we plan to expand to new districts and clients. Ultimately, we hope to retain our customers by continuously relying on user research and catering to our users' needs and feedback. By using analytics data, we will continually be using various metrics to improve our product. We will also want to emphasize a strong customer support team and customer guides to help users play our games to the fullest extent. Eventually, our goal will be to get a startup team running. Our team would be looking to hire management with experience in language learning products and develop a team of smart, driven individuals at the early stages of their career for the rest of our startup team. Here we have outlined the key positions we would need to fill and the number of personnel for each role.
Now that you've seen our team, here are projected costs and profits over the next few years. Besides paying our employees, we expect large marketing and Amazon Web security costs that we can continue to seamlessly grow for our user base. After 5 years, we hope to become cash flow positive and grow our teams as much as necessary. And now for the part you've all been waiting for, how are we going to make money? To decide our business model, we initially scoped those out of our competition. Duolingo runs on a freemium model where they make money by offering an ad-free premium subscription. Although this model sounds lucrative and user-friendly, only 1.7% of Duolingo users actually take advantage of the subscription. With that said, Duolingo was lucky enough to be one of the first ones with their foot in the door and grab the attention of the largest language learning audience. It is unlikely that we would succeed following their same model. In fact, our team has decided that the most important aspect of our product is changing the current culture of our monolingual society. We truly care about building a connection between people and culture through language. That is why we will initially implement a primarily not-for-profit business model. We will initially aim to grow our user base through students at schools and universities, all the while seeking revenue through angel investors, sponsors, and grants from organizations who believe in our product and unique learning language features. As mentioned before, our app drew a lot of inspirations from games that can complement learning, such as Wordle, and so did our business model. As of right now, Wordle does not make a penny. The New York Times is focusing on growing their user base and will most likely charge a subscription for extra services in the future once they reach a critical mass of users. The New York Times currently already does this with their crossword and other games. As we grow and add more games and features, we can implement the same model to our product. Finally, we are also open to and willing to form a merger agreement with another company. Our mission lies in minimizing the language barrier and helping people learn a new language. If we can implement our unique ideas into businesses that already attract a larger user base, then we accomplish that goal. Our app is a surefire way to teach others another language and keep them to come back. But the best part is, we will only get better. Over the next few years, we look forward to bringing forward new features, expanding our user base, growing our team with like-minded individuals, and increasing our data bank capacities. The world is looking a lot smaller with ProGrad. So hop in and let's go for a ride. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed our pitch. We're looking forward to answering any questions at this time.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump right in. I was going to ask you how you came up with the name ProCab, but I think you may have just touched on it there, but I'll let you elaborate. And also the taxi signage. How did you come up with that?
That's actually a funny story. So we had this idea for a very long time and we struggled to come up with a name. I think we were really like debating between the language joke, the worldly joke, like we're all over. And so we actually went to like random word generators. And I can't remember if we saw ProCab exactly or something close to it. But we really liked the cab idea, taking us on a journey. And here we are with ProCab. So
makes sense. Thanks.
Any other questions from the judges?
One question I didn't see in kind of the demonstration of the prototype. I'll call it a brand new language learner who doesn't know a word in the language that is they'd like to learn, what features or capabilities could you imagine including that would help them kind of get that first start? Because at least the demo you showed would have suggested someone knew something to be able to start with that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We plan on having quite a few different games, and this one was also a multiplayer version. So I think it assumes that at least one of you will be able to play the game. That way you work together and it really emphasizes the cohesive immersion into the app. but I'm actually going to direct you to Ryan, who came up with a lot of our game ideas, and he can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Reno. One of the other game ideas that we had was essentially, as I alluded to in the presentation, a flashcard app. Basically, similar to Heads Up, the game essentially allows you to collaborate with a friend or work independently and gamifies the flashcard process. So essentially, if you had like a flashcard on your head, you could utilize some physical mechanisms or physical gestures in order to walk you through playing the game. And then it would relay, it would allow you to not only, one individual would have like the translated word, another individual would have the non-translated word, and then you could essentially like denote if they got it incorrect or correct. And then they would have review features. Thank you so much for pulling up the slide. Review features that allows you to essentially say the translated word out loud and the non-translated word out loud. And then in the very end, you'll be taken to a review stage where you're essentially shown all the words that you got wrong, all the words that you got right, and how we would advise you to practice some specific words. So essentially making like a systematic way of reviewing vocabulary words and making the flashcard process more fun with your friends, but also making it gamified through mechanisms of like music, vibrations, like tapping mechanisms, all of that. So that's one example of a game that we ideated that would allow you to learn vocabulary words or conjugations from the ground up, as opposed to games that would be more intermediate levels of language learning, such as the Build-A-Bob game that we showcased.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, you actually brought up a question I had. Thank you. So a lot of your demo is around the written word, and building a kebab is around written. Can you talk to any of the stated speaking word process about how you would verify that I understand how to say the word? Is there audio associated with it?
Yeah, and if you can, Reno, take us back to the Heads Up game that we ideated. So basically, for the Heads Up game, there's going to be a mechanism on the Heads Up game where essentially, if an individual was showing so walking through this game, player 1 will hold up a translated word or translated like sign language picture. Player 2 will hold up a non-translated word or non-translated sign language picture. And so in order to make sure that an individual would be able to like understand like the non-translated word, there would be some type of indicator or like button on the screen that allows the individual to read out the word for them to attempt to translate. And so what's going to happen is that the individual, upon double tapping, the phone will ring and verbalize the foreign word to ensure pronunciation was correct. And so it's kind of like a feedback effect of sorts in order to not only check the individual who's testing the user on their own ability to pronounce, but in leveraging a review process that's kind of passive as you go throughout the game, it verifies it for both of them. And then in the final stages of our game, there will be a review stage where not only you'll be shown all the words that you got correct and got incorrect, but you'll also be able to essentially have audio playback, so that way you can ensure or like refine your pronunciation skills on the review portion of the Heads Up game that we ideated.
Just to add to that, we as a team also discussed that it's very important for everybody to learn through native speakers. We feel that in the future, we plan on onboarding tutoring services as well. We believe that native speakers would be a great addition to the app. We believe that language is ever evolving, and to learn from a native speaker would be the best way to learn a language. Thus, we plan on getting tutors from all across the world to provide quality education and at a much lower rate as well.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question, was how are you going to actually get the language expertise to make sure that the games are set up properly? Because I didn't see that in the startup team. model or cost structure?
Yeah, so along with using native speakers from around the world, as Aryan just told us, we also plan on working with schools in our first few years, and that will allow us to implement their curriculums, and we can only grow from there. I think after we work with, for the first 5 schools, we will learn with one language, which will help us come up with the problems we need to solve as we learn more languages and onboard more native speakers.
And to add on to that, our startup team, as you saw, like the different people we would hire immediately would be people to start building out our app. But of course, as we move along, our very next step would be we need people to help verify that these languages are being taught correctly and the curriculum is correct according to all the education standards and language rules. So you bring up a very good point, and that would be the next step as we continue to develop our team.
Any other questions from the judges? All right. We're going to move on. Thank you, team. We're going to move on to, let's see, third team presenting is going to be Team 5, Social Tech 1, Moraine.
Now I'll get us started. Good evening, everyone. We are the first social tech team, and our platform is called Hyrus, named after the Greek god of employment. You'll be hearing from our build team, Lucian, Kia, and Betty, and our business team, Manny, Jason, and myself. But first, let's play a game. So what you do in this game is beat the competition with your skills. Those are your only directions, so let's get started. But you might be thinking, I still don't know how to play or how to win. And those are the same problems with the current traditional recruitment process. It's too intimidating and secretive for job seekers looking for entry-level positions. So in comes Hyrus. We are a recruitment site, an all-inclusive and centralized job form, board, and mentorship program. We have 2 goals: assisting job seekers to showcase their technical and soft skills to recruiters, and creating a supportive environment where job seekers can exchange information and experiences in industry-specific communities. Next slide, please. Some existing solutions try to address one goal but neglect the other. For example, some LinkedIn job postings have forums to post questions, but no mentorship for career advice. For Upwork and Indeed, the job board format is overshadowed by opportunities filled through referrals, indicating the importance of social networking. Fishbowl has an anonymous mentorship program, but lacks that portfolio space. In all, we saw a need for a platform to adapt the qualities of a job board, a forum, and a mentorship program, and repackage them for a younger audience.
As Jane mentioned, 2 big problems we identified in the job recruitment industry are the need for an open, supportive community and the ability to effectively showcase technical and soft skills. Here are 4 main features within Hyrus that we believe will solve these problems. First, job seekers can upload personal projects, which allow for a more holistic and comprehensive representation of the applicant. Alternatively, job seekers can complete project challenges created by recruiters to demonstrate their mastery of role-specific skills and qualifications. Hyrus users also have access to communities and a personal space where they can share industry knowledge, offer advice, and ask questions to other users. Each community and space provides personalized and industry-specific forums that any user can engage with.
Here is Hyrus side by side with 4 of its most relevant competitors, LinkedIn and Indeed, 2 platforms known for their job searching capabilities, and Fishbowl and Hivebright, 2 platforms that are known for community building and management. Hyrus boasts a strong set of features that enable users to best showcase themselves professionally while also expanding one's network through online communities. There's personal project showcase opportunities, recruitment project challenges, job listings where conversations between users can happen, forum posting, organized mentorships, and the ability to create online communities. LinkedIn, perhaps the most well-known platform here, offers features in both of these categories, but not to a level of depth as Hyrus. The dashes here convey that the platform has a feature that might be fundamentally similar, but completely different when it comes to use case and purpose. Then there's the likes of Fishbowl and Hivebright, which focus a lot on community and personal network building, but lack the features that enable users to best showcase their professional prowess.
Next slide, please. So to evaluate competitive influences, we looked at Porter's 5 forces. Buyers have high bargaining power because almost half of all job applications come from job boards. The substitutes and existing rivals that Jason introduced pose a high threat as well because of existing brand awareness. For LinkedIn, as an example, the subscription models and existing online presence are among what Hire-Us would have to compete with. There are some legal regulations for entry into the recruitment market, but the average job startup cost for a job board is relatively low at $6,000. It's becoming more accessible and more affordable to have an online presence. So suppliers like online infrastructure have low bargaining power. So now let's take a look at the actual platform.
This is our landing page. Here, users can choose to register based on their role as either a job seeker, industry professional, or recruiter. Below the registration selections is a brief overview of our features, top communities, and competitive advantages. First, let's take a look at Hire-Us through the lens of a job seeker. To register, simply input your basic information and choose your industry of interest. You also have the option of joining several of our suggested communities. Hire-Us is compliant with the California Privacy Rights Act, and the data you provide and the industry you select allows us to create a tailored experience to help you take full advantage of our platform. Here's the homepage, where you can see posts made across all communities you have joined. Along with viewing more suggested communities, you can also create a post to a specific community. The Communities tab allows you to further browse, search for, and even filter communities by hashtags. Clicking one of these communities takes you to its page, where you can view, interact with, and create posts in the community. Each post is its own forum, where users can reply to comments made by other users or start their own comment thread. Moving on to the Job Search tab, this is where job seekers can browse industry-specific job offerings made by recruiters, who have either provided a challenge or the skills and qualifications required for the role. You can search for jobs and filter them by company, location, job type, and work style. Clicking one of these job listings allows you to view the details of the challenge or qualifications. If you decide to accept the challenge, you are taken to the Project Challenge Dropbox, where you can upload any combination of documents, images, videos, or other files to fully demonstrate your project. There's a similar Dropbox for jobs listed with skills and qualifications. In addition to interacting with other users through community forums, Hire-Us also has a private messaging feature, which allows a job seeker to message other job seekers, industry professionals, and recruiters. Next, let's log out and take a look at Hire-Us through the lens of an industry professional.
I'm sharing you from the industry professional perspective. After logging into your account, you will prompt to the homepage that is shared between you and the job seekers. Here, you can either browse posts made by other users within the platform or create content on the community you joined. For industry professionals, you will have your personal space set up once you register. This personal space gather your previous activities within the forum, where you can always go back and get updates from the post you made previously. Within your space, you can access your profile, where you can view and customize your experience, education, resume, CV, and project and skills. Moving on to the Community tab, you will see a list of communities you joined, or you can browse through other communities that you are interested in using the hashtag on the top. Clicking into each community, you will access to posts made by different users within the community. Each post is a forum where you can communicate and interact with other users. You are also encouraged to create content and share your professional knowledge to people of the similar career interests. It is a great way for you to interact and connect with people within the same career background. Last but not least, you have an option to private message with the job seekers or other industry professionals. Then we will move on to explore Hire-Us through the lens of the recruiter.
So now we're going to look at the product from the eyes of the recruiter. the Hires homepage is a place for recruiters to view what's going on in their network and discover content trending with job seekers. After completing the registration process, the recruiter will have access to a Hires company space that they can customize to attract job seekers and provide information about the company's career opportunities, culture, and more, in which the job seeker can respond to and interact with. Similar to other actors, recruiters can also create a profile which would be used for providing additional information about the company. Recruiters can find qualified candidates through creating challenges or listing the skills and qualifications required for the role. When creating the project challenge job posting, we included a tutorial to guide recruiters to use the best practices for framing the challenge. We have also included a tutorial on how to best list requirements for the role if they decide to list the qualifications and skills. In the applications page, they can access all the projects received, categorized by job postings. After selecting the desired role, they can view all the projects submitted by candidates by clicking on their application. Our platform allows the recruiter to quickly distinguish the most qualified candidates by clicking the top applicant option. Furthermore, they can make a note of the skills that pique their interest the most from a candidate's application, so that when they return to the list of applications, they can recall the strengths of their top candidates immediately. In addition, recruiters have limited viewing access to user communities in order to refer a job posting to certain communities that meet their target audience. Next slides, please. In a world where everyone knows how to talk about themselves in glowing terminology, nothing speaks louder than your accomplishments. Showcasing concise projects you have worked on that reflect the recruiter's expectations is far more compelling than resumes with overused terminology like strong or experienced. Showcasing projects enables job seekers to give a more detailed and comprehensive representation of their technical and soft skills. Many professional social platforms are more of a directory than a social platform. They have a lot of information about people's professional backgrounds, but they don't allow for genuine interactions between their users. Hires, on the other hand, allows job seekers to join industry-specific user communities and access a supportive environment where they can freely exchange information and experiences without the intimidation factor. At the same time, they can access a support network of industry professionals and receive career advice, mentorship, and build professional relationships. In conclusion, Hires provides a sense of belonging community that allows job seekers to obtain and share different points of views that can significantly improve their job search and recruitment process. Next is industry professionals.
For industry professionals, the key value that Hires presents is the prospect of engaging in genuine and mutually beneficial relationships with promising and eager job seekers. Through the Hires platform, industry professionals can engage in organized mentorship opportunities with job seeker users, which can help improve general social and leadership skills, along with exposing oneself with new perspectives. Furthermore, the ability to post important and useful information and announcements to those who decide to follow their space embodies the ability to engage with the younger generation of professionals. All in all, Hires grants an industry professional these valuable opportunities of gaining access to new ideas and perspectives, engaging with the younger generation, and becoming a better leader overall.
Recruiters get tangible evidence of the candidate's skills and qualifications when they receive projects that meet their expectations for a job post. Our innovative approach to the recruitment process enables recruiters to examine how candidates apply their skills and knowledge to solve real-world problems. LinkedIn, our competitor, has a skills demonstration feature that allows candidates to showcase relevant examples or skills for a specific role. However, the questions are pre-formulated and cannot be changed, so applicants' responses will not be specific to the recruiter's company. Unlike LinkedIn, Hires enables recruiters to pose a company-specific challenge to candidates in order to evaluate how they address a problem relevant to the role. Furthermore, if recruiters like a candidate's projects, they may view their profile, which includes their experiences, resume, and all the projects they have completed in the past. If a recruiter is interested in the candidate's background and projects, they can send them private messages or invite them to an interview.
Moving on to our financial projections, what's really exciting about Hire Us, aside from the impact that the possibility of the impact that we have that we can make, is its capacity to possibly make $18.9 million in revenue by 2026. So how do we get there? We do this in a series of 3 steps. So in the first year, we would initially begin as a 501c nonprofit organization tailored towards job-specific industries. And this could be done for under $15,000, which would be sourced through grant funding and donations. And this would be for us to generate a prototype that we would be able to test at UCLA with a focus group of around 100 users. Our second year, we would move towards more comprehensive funding, which we'll build on later in this presentation, so that we can further develop an MVP. And then we would work on this MVP through a series of agile cycles until we can confirm our POC, or rather our proof of concept, so that we can move on to our third and final phase, where we would transition into incorporating a B Corp, which would allow us to generate revenue and would open up the space for us to be able to secure seed funding, venture capital, angel investment, impact investment, and would allow us to move towards full stack development. And more importantly, be able to give us the tool that we need for us to scale and be able to impact the masses. So how do we make money? Super simple. We'd have a single revenue stream. This would be through ads, and our revenue stream would be split 55% towards the creator and 45% towards Hire Us. This would ensure that we would increase the quality of our products so that we can scale to impact millions of lives while maintaining our profitability and long-term sustainability. Next slide.
So 3 months after general release, we are launching a mentorship features that connect job seekers and the industry professionals. It allows the young people to seek one-to-one mentorship on their project. In 6 months, the mentorship program will extend beyond one-to-one appointment, where the industry professionals would have a chance to set up their own mentorship program for the topic of their choices. In addition to the mentorship program, the industry professional can also launch event or workshop that would open to all users to attend. Given the growing number of people registered to our platform, we will have sufficient data to set up a community algorithm suggestions for all the users.
For our go-to-market strategy at launch, we are looking at a self-service model where users will sign up to use our platform without the aid of a sales team, and an inbound approach for demand generation. There will be a Hire Us website available to establish our online presence, while content marketing efforts such as having a landing page and various blog content will generate interest by immersing leads with educational content that highlight the issues surrounding job searching and network building. And that is where Hire Us then enters as the solution. We have 2 potential social media campaigns at launch that revolve around user-generated content. On the left is Beyond the Resume, where people easily generate and share a 3-graphic long story that contains only the essentials when conveying who you are professionally and personally. The idea behind this is that, like Hire Us's mission, there is the need to better showcase who you are that may not be usually accomplished with the resume, which has the potential to overwhelm recruiters with too much information. Then there's #HireBlank, which will be a fun meme that people can easily generate and share that will yield more exposure to our brand.
So moving over towards our startup funding, again, we would be able to start up, at least be able to generate a working prototype for under $15,000. However, to move on to a more solidified MVP, this would require around $500,000 in startup funding. And so this would be primarily sourced through sponsorships, beginning with a Microsoft sponsorship of $150,000, which would go towards Azure web hosting services. This would ultimately allow us to decrease, or rather minimize our need for physical assets. And it's a sponsorship that I could speak to personally. Aside from that, we'd move over to our other sponsorships. So these could be a series of the competitions that we host through sponsorships. So currently at UCLA, some of the companies currently right now for case competitions, for example, they'll donate anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000 in contribution revenue for these case competitions. And so the figure that we have right there is $70,000, but this is a rather fairly conservative estimate, given that we could definitely source a lot more in sponsorship, or rather other sponsorships. Other from that, we'd be able to source funding through philanthropic efforts, and then obviously fundraising as well. And then lastly, grants that would be sourced from grants.gov. Next slide.
Hirist is not simply a job searching site. From here, you empower yourself with professional resources and opportunities. You will be a part of communities that redefine a genuine relationship between the recruiters and the industry professionals. We redefined how the job seeker should be seen through their dedicated projects. Resume, CV, and cover letter do not tell our story. We will show you who we are from here. At the end, I want to say thank you to all the people who helped us along the way. Thanks Damon, Amy, and Negan for taking their time out and providing valuable feedback to our platform. They gave us such a great comment on what we should focus on to polish our site. Big shout out to Andy and Ravi who dedicated their time to support us along the way. Thank you.
Open it up to the judges.
So
go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, so I guess one question about marketing it. I would think for this to work, you would need both the applicants, the industry professionals, and recruiters all joining, in mass. So I saw the marketing seemed focused on the job seekers, but how would the recruiters know about this app and use it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can take that one. So what the strategy that we have in mind is localized targeting on a specific community and industry. For example, we focus on San Francisco finance and tech scene, the finance capital of West US with a particular focus on the technology sector. So having founders of successful and promising startups, which are constantly hiring to keep up with the rapid growth, join the platform, invite their connections, allows us to cultivate an aspirational brand and feed the large demand for young workforce. So that's how we would reach out to the industry professionals and recruiters is through focusing on specific communities and having, especially startups, because they're always looking to hire people. When we have successful startups, they would have a good view on not just Hirist, but they would be able to add their successful connections, and that would automatically interest job seekers as well. And yeah.
And then just to further add on to that from a financial perspective, we do have a pretty comprehensive financial model, and in that would be directly sourced from our advertising spend. And so that would, and then we've been able to articulate what we estimate that would translate to in terms of customer acquisition, new users, our organic ratio, what our new users might look like, total new users, churn rate, et cetera. It's all listed there.
So related question, maybe, as you were talking about users and the growth rate, it looked like from the chart you showed that you go in your final year, you reach, I think it was about 30 million monthly active users, but the year prior, I mean, my poor vision would suggest it's probably best case 1 million. What is the basis for your assumption of getting that level of growth in a single year?
So in that, if we could pull up the actual model would be super helpful, so that I can maybe point out to that. So this is more so towards how do we generate revenue? There's another spreadsheet that has our profit and loss statement. I think you guys have it on a PDF. Okay. Well, I guess maybe I can just kind of verbalize through it. So I guess to kind of speak to that. So once we do generate, this would ideally be once we start, generating revenue through ads and are able to transition towards a B Corp model where we are able to generate revenue and more importantly, investment. So once we do that, this we I guess the primary thing that we'd be relying on is the network effect. But aside from that, we do have a pretty substantive amount that we would be putting towards like our marketing efforts, as well as our like ad spend, and then just the team of people that we would have like working around us. Not to mention that at this point, like ideally, right, like we would have spent a solid series of cycles, like where we're refining this product. And so by the time that we are seeking investment, like we will definitely have a product that is going to be providing user value, so that once we do release it to the masses, it will like trickle that network effect.
I have a question. I'm trying to differentiate Hire-Us from LinkedIn. And I know you try to talk about it, but I think what I heard is the big, and correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm missing a part of it, but I think what I heard is that with the projects and being able to demonstrate, the recruiters can post a skills challenge, and then folks can demonstrate that they have those skills. And I think I saw you demonstrate that by uploading documents. That sounds to me like something that a platform like LinkedIn could easily do, or if they don't already. In other words, part of uploading a resume, you upload some supporting information that shows that you have certain skills. So maybe take some time to talk a little bit more on maybe what I'm missing, but how you differentiate from a service like LinkedIn.
I can answer this one. Okay. So with LinkedIn, I believe I know what you're referencing, because on LinkedIn, there are skill assessments that one can take. So for Microsoft Office Excel or C++, or just very general skills, you take a quick assessment and then LinkedIn rewards you with a badge. The difference with Hire-Us is that these recruitment project challenges, they're more geared specifically for the specific job posting that the recruiter decides to post. So for example, if I'm posting a position for product marketing, then perhaps the skills challenge I would put out is that, oh, how would you create a go-to-market strategy with this information? So something that's geared specifically for that job posting.
Going off of that, Jason answered that perfectly. But basically, as he said, it would be geared toward specific requirements and qualifications that the recruiters are looking for. And that would be translated into projects, as opposed to, yes, you would be able to upload overall projects that capture some of these skills that you have. But as we touched on this, it wouldn't really be geared toward what the recruiter wants. And that's why we also have the challenge opportunity, where the recruiters can actually construct exactly what they're looking for, put it in a challenge format, and the projects that they would receive, it would directly relate to getting the best candidates. The other thing that I want to touch on LinkedIn is that the problem with LinkedIn is that there's a tendency to like hide behind that perfect professional image. So LinkedIn is the ultimate directory of professionals, no doubt about it. There's so many experts in the network, yet people don't use LinkedIn as a crowdsourcing platform to get answers on their questions, because professionals on LinkedIn are expected to have the answers. So they're not comfortable asking questions, and it all goes back to user psychology. And that's why we took into account also the community aspects, and we have user communities, which is where the job seekers can interact with one another, share advice, and find potential opportunities together. And we also have the professional community that they can receive advice from a professional and get connected through that way. There is, from interviewing 2 recruiters that we mentioned, they actually gave us the idea of having the industry professional, because a lot of the times these are not active recruiters, but within their team, for example, if they're working in a company and they're working in a finance team, they know if the marketing team is recruiting and they see projects that they're interested in and piques their interest, they can refer that person to another department within their company. So we're also capturing that referral aspect that LinkedIn has. But overall, we're going for eliminating the intimidation factor that exists in other job sites, including LinkedIn.
Thanks.
You have time maybe for one more question?
I just have a quick one. Is this a mobile-friendly app?
Yeah, that's a great question. So currently we are focusing on our website, and the mobile app feature is something that we are anticipating adding about 2 years down the line after general release, when we establish proof of proof of concept and provide that user value and gain enough traction in the recruitment market to warrant those additional development costs of a mobile app. So for instance, LinkedIn, I believe, has about half, and Reddit as well, of their users through the mobile version. And a mobile app is definitely on our radar, but more down the line.
Any other questions?
Just real quick, what's with the $150,000 from Microsoft? Is that just speculative, or is there some kind of guaranteed funding happening there?
Yeah, so that's actually, I can speak to that. So that would be through Microsoft Founders Hub, and that is a sponsorship that I've been able to secure myself for my startup. And so I can speak to that. It's like, it's really amazing. So I think that competitively, it's because right now, like the market leader is Amazon for cloud like hosting services. And so right now, what Microsoft is doing through Azure is they're allowing their users to, or at least like startups, to be able to like generate that sponsorship, but you have to apply to it. But you can have that funding up to like again, it's up to $150,000. It's based off of the amount of data that you are using. But, you know, I would think that after that, assuming that you've already been using them for a year and their services are reliable, then, right, like I would personally continue using them moving forward as well.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, team. We're going to move on. So the next team is going to be Team 6, Social Tech 2, Ubuntu. For those of you who are not, if you can turn off your video from the other team. So hire us. If you can turn off your videos, please. All right.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight for our pitch deck. My name is Mona Maraftab, and we are Team Social Tech 2, otherwise known as Ubuntu. Tonight, we want to present our product, also called Ubuntu, chosen for its unique African origin, meaning I am what I am because of who we all are. This phrase represents how we are human through our social connection with others. But how about those who don't have access to that? How do they get access to their Ubuntu or their humanity? We are proud to present Ubuntu, an opportunity for inmate mentorship through a hybrid system of non-digital and digital technology. I first want to introduce our team. We all come from different backgrounds and an array of knowledge to make this ideation come into fruition. And only working together, we can make social tech a reality and reflective of what our mission truly is. With that, I want to pass it on to our marketing expert, Milton.
Yeah, there are currently 3 problems that affect inmates all over the United States. The first problem is that the United States has some of the highest recidivism rates in the world. According to the National Institute of Justice, almost 44% of inmates released return before their first year out of prison. The second problem is that the prison telecommunication industry consists of $1.4 billion that is generated from the phone call revenue, which makes it costly to connect with inmates. The Ella Baker Center for Human Rights published a study that estimated that 1 in 3 families go into debt because of prison phone calls. The third problem is that inmates struggle to find stable employment because of their long stays within prison that hinder their capacity of gaining valuable skill sets. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, about 60% of formerly incarcerated individuals face unemployment. Next slide. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I've also faced incarceration, but as a juvenile. I grew up with a father and I faced poverty all my life, which led me to do things that I'm not proud of. I lived in an environment that exposed me to drugs, alcohol, and even gang violence. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to learn from my mistakes early on before even making it to prison. I was definitely on track to head into that direction, but it was through mentorship that I realized the potential I had and the path that I could take moving forward to change my life. Not only was I accepted into UCLA, the #1 public university in the nation, but I also gave a TEDx talk on how entrepreneurship saved my life, presented research on Latinos and entrepreneurship at Stanford, and recently accepted my offer to intern at KPMG, one of the 4 largest accounting firms in the world. While I'm super grateful for the mentorship I've received over the years, I've come to realize that it's been a privilege that most inmates don't get, which is why we aim to solve this. To hear more about our solution, I will hand it back to Mona.
Thank you for that. So our solution is to come up with a web app that connects incarcerated individuals with mentors through a specific filtering process that we came up with. Some project timeline information. We started with our design thinking process within this class to take us throughout all the 9 weeks. We came up with 3 major milestones, starting with a research phase in milestone 1, a template phase in milestone 2, and a product phase in milestone 3 that we aim to present today to everyone. Now I want to send it over to our tech and logistic expertise, Peter.
Thank you, Mona. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter, and I'm the tech and logistic expert of Ubuntu. I will now be honored to introduce you the logistics of our project. In general, the Ubuntu website is a free and non-profit website, providing our customers access to help inmates in prison to connect to society by writing letters to them. This social tech product is more than a mutual beneficial tool that supports inmates and offers customers opportunities to generate impact, but it also has a great social benefit by lowering the repeated crime rate and related costs. Next, please. What is showing here is the fundamental logic of the interaction between our customers and the inmates, with forward pass in blue color and backward in yellow. Users will begin signing up on the homepage, where they will fill in personal information and receive a unique user ID. Once signed in, our users will have access to image search, where a filter function allows them to specify groups of inmates with certain features, such as a female with painting hobby. By the time starting composing the letter, our customers will be offered an opportunity to join a mentorship program with inmates, which allows both to build stronger bonds. The uploaded digital letters will be sent to our partner company, Postgrid, where they will be printed out, sealed with a prepaid return envelope, and mailed to the prison. After the letters are checked by the prison officers, inmate will receive their letters and reply with the prepaid envelope. The reply will all be sent to the post office box of Ubuntu, where they will be collected by Ubuntu staff, and letters will be digitalized by scanning and then sent to users' inbox. The unique user ID is generated with a unique QR code that allows the website system to track the targeted users. Thank you. That's our logistic flowchart. I will now hand it to the other tech and logistic expert, G.
Hey everyone, my name is Gaurish, and as a tech lead and of Ubuntu, I've created the working prototype for a web application using Wix, which you can see for yourself using the link provided. For those wondering what Wix is, it is an open source professional website creator available free to use online. Let's move on to the next slide, where I'll be taking you through a video demonstration of the web app itself. What you'll see right now is a landing page of Ubuntu, with a list of inmates on the right and an overall description of what we at Ubuntu are doing for prison incarcerated individuals. There are also buttons taking you to different web pages. For now, let's move back to the top and carry with Inmates Database. As you can see now, there's a list of 9 sample inmates on the screen that we have scraped from other websites, such as Writer Prisoner, and we'll discuss this later in the presentation. For the time being, let's continue with Brett Pearson and go to his page. What we see is Mr. Pearson's complete biography. Let's say we want to, however, sort an inmate by filters. For instance, we can choose the location as California and choose that we are interested in mentoring that individual. This cuts the list down from 6 inmates down to 6 inmates from 9 and shows how the filtration process itself works. Let's say we are interested in becoming pen pals or a mentor to Rasheem Jackson. We click on his link and go to his page. If his bio does seem like a good match, we click on the Write Letter button, which takes us to the page with his address and requires us to accept the terms and conditions before moving forward. Once we do that, we arrive at the letter writing portal itself. This requires the following details for now: our full name, email address, contact number, and the letter. This will be updated as we move from the prototype stage to the actual product. Let's type sample details for the time being. Meanwhile, the letter as shown in the logistic flowchart will be examined and received by the prison inmate via our partner, Postgrid. This allows easy communication between inmates and our product users. If our inmate does respond, it appears in the user's inbox, and this ensures a two-way communication. Once the letter is submitted, we arrive at the home screen. Let me now take you through the other pages of our web application. The About Us page informs users of our mission and vision behind Ubuntu, while the Our Team page has all the team members and their roles. Users can also reach out to us using the Contact Us page and donate to our cause via PayPal, which allows us to improve more prisoner lives through revenue. The FAQs page is one that we're working on, and this will include sample letters, mentorship guidelines, etc. for users to follow. That's Ubuntu's web application for now. And now I'd like to hand it over to Aishwarya, our design head, who will take you through the database creation process.
Hello, my name is Aishwarya, and I'm the Ubuntu design expert. I want to use this opportunity to discuss our database. We realized early on that we needed data on inmates who would prefer to receive correspondence and support through our discussions and research. To do so, we opted to scrape data that was already publicly available. So in the next few slides, I'll go over the method we used to scrape data and how we plan to use it in the development of our web application. First and foremost, what is web scraping? It is a process of extracting information from a website. We utilized Python to implement this, which is an object-oriented high-level programming language with a number of built-in data structures that we use throughout our codes. We utilized the Beautiful Soup library in Python to scrape data from HTML and XML files. We found 3 websites with information on the inmates we were looking for. We chose to scrape data from a website called writerprisoner.com. Writerprisoner.com allows families and friends of inmates to create profiles for inmates who want to receive letters or correspondence. Now we'll go through the process in 4 steps. First, we found the website we want to scrape. Second, we use Beautiful Soup to scrape information from the HTML file that the website is built on. Third, we save essential data in a data frame, which is a table-like data structure. Fourth, we save the table as a .xl or a .csv file. Now I'd like to talk a bit about the logic behind the codes. Next slide. We attempted to construct 2 key functions. The first loops through a single web page with 25 inmate profiles, as shown in the image on the right-hand side of the screen. The second function loops through each inmate's page, which is displayed on the following slide. Next slide, please. The blue boxes indicate the aspects that we are interested in. For example, date of birth, date of the inmate's incarceration, reason for incarceration, as well as others. Following the implementation of this method, the following data frame appears on the next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. Which is subsequently exported to a .csv file. In our codebook, part 1 scrapes data for a single web page, while part 2 gathers all essential information about a single inmate and saves it in a dictionary data structure. Using parts 1 and 2 as a foundation, we want to build a more comprehensive database in the future. To summarize, we can learn a lot more about inmates if we have data on them. For example, we now have a demographic information on each facility's inmates, which we can use to create a more informed web application that caters to changing needs. I would like to now pass it on to our customer expert, Emily. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So when looking at our customer segments, we look at 2 main groups. So first we have our mentors, and then we have our incarcerated people. And this slide currently goes over some conversations that we had with various nonprofits that work with incarcerated people so that we could really empathize with this market and understand their pain points. So the 3 main difficulties that we pulled apart from speaking with these nonprofits are in these purple boxes in the middle, and they range from a large difficulty mainly being employment. A lot of incarcerated people some of them might have no social security number, they might have limited to no legitimate work experience, and that also leads to a lot of problems explaining their background or different gaps in work experiences. This third difficulty that we have on the bottom is more in the social realm. So difficulty adjusting back to society as time really stands still for a lot of people that are incarcerated compared to their family and friends on the outside. And then from these 3 difficulties, we really were able to find some gaps and draw apart some needs that are needed with current resources. The first need that we have is to break down the current stigma against incarcerated people and show that previously incarcerated people, when they're out of prison, do have valuable skills in the workplace. The second need is for social connectivity, which will help back in adjusting back to society. And third is this need for career advising and mentorship and helping explain this background and gaps in applying for jobs. So then when we look at our second group of customers, that's going to be our mentors. And so we conducted a series of over 70 user interviews through Google Form surveys. And if you look at like one of these pie charts that we have on the left that I pulled out, something that really validates our social tech aspect is that a lot of respondents do have interest in developing a writing relationship with a stranger. So this led us to our pen pal idea. And then I pulled out some quotes that we have on the right-hand side that shows that some respondents that have interest in connecting with others, whether that be through a shared identity and different backgrounds. And then like user 2 on the right-hand side is really interested in about hearing about other people's backgrounds and stories. So those two slides really bring us to our target mentor population. So our first qualification would be people, obviously, since we're a nonprofit that are interested in social impact and that really do want to make a difference. And then our second group of people would be, or our second qualification would be individuals that are able to mentor and provide career advice. So that leads us to execs and professionals interested in social impact. And I'll now pass it on to Milton, our marketing expert.
Yeah, so our go-to-market strategy consists of 5 components. Like Emily was saying, we will first target inmates that have upcoming releases within 2 years and connect them with working professionals that will assist them with their reentry to the workforce. Second, we will establish our presence on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to demonstrate our social impact and increase our organic reach. Third, we will utilize advertising platforms such as Google Ads, Meta for Business, and LinkedIn marketing solutions to acquire even more reach. Fourth, we will leverage SEO tools such as Google Analytics and SEO SEMrush to help us improve our ranking within search engines and view our website's traffic. Finally, we will implement a referral program that will encourage our mentors to bring in other professionals within our network. This will allow us to create a network effect in a cost-effective manner. Next slide. As for our competitive advantage, this is how we stack against our competitors, who are Emilio, MSENT, and PenMate. Not only are we a cost-effective solution, but we are socially aware of the problems we're working to resolve. We've gotten to understand the needs of inmates, which is why we move forward as a nonprofit, because we are in this to truly make a difference. We also aim to make it a seamless process for our mentors to write their letters on their computers using our web application. This method is more effective for letter writing because a mobile app would be better suited for like sending a text message. On top of that, our matchmaking system consists of a specific filtering process that allows mentors to choose from the inmates that would benefit the most from their background and expertise. This makes every interaction beneficial for the inmate and the mentor. Now I'll pass it on to Kwani.
Hello, my name is Kwani. I am the finance expert for Ubuntu. So first I want to talk about our targeted market. So first of all, we want to target our total addressable market will be the inmate population in California, which is approximately 117,000 people. And for our project, we want to narrow it down to a serviceable available market, which will be the inmate population in LA County, which is approximately 13,000 people. And since we're entering a firm in this industry, nonprofit firm in the industry, we want to estimate that it's around 2% of the inmate population that will attract in LA County. So finally, for our serviceable obtainable market, we will have approximately 260 people. Next slide, please. And next, I want to talk about our business models. So our revenue is based on potential grants that we might qualify for and we will apply for. So as you can see on the chart on the left and the table on the bottom, this represents our growth in our net income. So as you can see in year 0, which is the development phase of our project, we'll encounter a negative profit. However, starting from year 1 throughout year 5, we will steadily increase. As we increase the amounts of participants in our project, we will be able to qualify for more grants and thus able to have more income throughout the years. And as you can see on the right chart, shows the number of participating inmates each year, which shows a growth trend. So according to the survey we sent out, we realized that there's approximately 30% of people, we estimated that there will be a 30% increase in participating inmates in this program, since more people will be willing to participate. Next slide, please. So this table summarizes our cost components, our cost and revenue components. So first of all, on the very top, you can see the grants. So we looked up for the type of grants that we will qualify for. And since we're a tech nonprofit organization, Twilio.org is an organization that helps specifically tech nonprofits that have tech requirements that help people communicate with each other, which our goal satisfies. So, and it offers at most $150,000 per year, and we'll see an increasing trend that we can qualify for each year. And the second one is the innovative programming grants provided by CDCR, which is the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and they will offer at most 200,000 grants per year, which we will also see an increasing trend throughout the years. And for the second portion, this is the 2 months of the development phase, expenses, salaries that we'll pay. And then the last one is operation expenses, which ties back to our flow chart. So we'll be collaborating with a third party called PostGrid, which will help us print out and send the letters. So we will have an annual membership fee. And also, since the letters have a mailing cost per letter, so we'll also include that. And also for the return envelopes from the inmates back to the PO boxes that we'll collect all the letters. And then we'll have program managers to manage all the letters and then distribute them out to the mentors. And in addition to that, each year we want to collaborate with other volunteering organizations to recruit more volunteers to help with this initiative. So this concludes our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, and let us know if you have any comments or questions.
Hi, I do have a question. I'm still kind of struggling with the 260 inmates. It seems like a very small number to justify building on a platform, especially at the costs that you have. I'm just wondering if there's something wrong in the calculation. If, for instance, if this was a dating app or even a job matching app, I would expect, maybe 50-50 or close to that of the people being matched or the populations being matched. This makes it seem as though there's a very small number of potential inmates and maybe way more people that may want to write to them. Is that normal for this field? Did this cause any consternations for you with the number of inmates in your SOM?
That's a really great question. So our specific population is referring to the number of inmates that are about to be released, which could represent the targeted number. And since we're also starting our nonprofit, we estimate that there's a 2 to 5% projection into the market. Additionally, I can refer to our marketing expert, Nilton, and our finance expert, Hwan Yi, to further answer that question.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Okay, so I can answer this. So we base this data on the data from the Custody Division Population Quarterly Report from the LA County Department. And then we realized that based on the 13,000, since there are like other competitors currently already in the market, as Nilton mentioned, so we're trying to make the data as conservative as possible. So 2% is the amount that we're estimating. Yeah, Nilton, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna state that so a lot of the applications that I showed as competitors, they kind of target towards family and friends and what they would be receiving as far as postcards and letters. Since this is kind of like a different model where we're trying to connect mentors to inmates, we kind of already factored in that the 2% is people that would be interested into participating in this program. So we had to look into do they even have some workforce programs within the prisons already and stuff like that. So a lot of the info that we were trying to acquire, we couldn't get because it's within the prisons, and we had to try to contact them and stuff. So we were just kind of trying to be conservative on that percentage that we can get, for sure, to participate in this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's good to not estimate. It's just if you start off at 260 before you start filtering, you could very quickly get down to a very small number of matches. but I totally understand that your approach. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All of us.
I was actually curious on the privacy side. I appreciate the use of the scraping technology, but given the laws in California in particular, you will be holding personal identifiable information. How have you thought about the privacy component of this?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So we did think about the privacy component, and I think that's the unique application to our website. I can refer you to G and Peter, our tech and logistics, to talk about the privacy terms and conditions and why we chose a third party specifically for this process, along with anonymity of the user option.
Thank you so much for the question, first of all. So we did address this in our prototype as well. So with the terms and conditions that the users will be accepting, there'll also be an option to go anonymous as a letter, as a mentor to the inmate. So there will be an anonymity feature so that if you want to become a mentor but don't want to reveal your personal information, that feature will be there. In addition, we also plan to have a 18 plus only threshold to this so that minors are not interacting with inmates, and that will also be of concern. And in addition to this, all the information about the prisoners, prisoner site is available publicly online as well. So we have addressed the privacy component on that side. I would like to refer you to Peter if he wishes to add further.
Thank you, G. I was actually thinking about the same thing as you did, as we discussed in the meeting.
Great. I hope that answers your question. If also the reason we chose a third party is so that that transfer of mailing doesn't have to be on the user's end. So PostGrid having that opportunity to send the letter from the Ubuntu company and getting an automatic return letter to a PO box sort of separates this idea of that user's address being public towards the other end. Additionally, like G mentioned, having an anonymity feature so the person can have a pseudonym as an option if they're not comfortable using their full real name, but they still want to have this mentorship process available. So we considered those in the factors of creating this website and this idea.
Yeah, so my question is kind of related. So the information is from a site where inmates have provided profiles and pictures and said, I want people to write to me. And is there a process for them to opt out if they decide they don't want to participate in the mentorship program? That's question number one. Number two is there going to be a component like a guidelines or training for potential mentors on types of information they should be included in their letters so that they can have meaningful exchanges?
That's a fantastic question. I can hint at a little bit and then also refer to marketing and customer expertises for that. So our main points for directing the user, so the person writing the letter, to write appropriate letters is more geared towards the FAQs, where we sort of have a do's and don'ts and recommendations and guidances for letters, which Emily can explain upon. Emily, would you care to continue that?
Yeah, so kind of part of the FAQ section that G was talking about on Wix, but also like we'll have like built up further in the future is definitely have like different types of like sample letters based on like what you want to mentor about, and then also like a list of like do's and don'ts and like certain things that you should and shouldn't be saying.
And then to refer to the other aspect of regarding the like prisoners' information out there publicly? Could you possibly?
Yeah, I mean it's out there on a public website. But then if they change their mind and they don't want people writing to them, do they have an ability to opt out?
Right. So usually for our reference, our database is based on what we scraped online, which Ash can clarify a little bit more. This database is on what the prisoner's biography is based upon. So a lot of the times these prisoners are seeking mentorship, and this communication between our user, so the person behind the computer writing the letter, and the prisoner will allow both parties to have options to continue or want to continue, as well as metrics on the website itself to track mentorship progress and whether or not they want to continue this progress through graphs, through badges, through incentives, that psychological incentives, through diagrams that can help users to continue mentorship, and as well as prisoners, since we're targeting a population that's soon to be released.
Also, I can chime in a little bit. I know for this like prototype, we demonstrated like how it would look like by scraping data on a public website and showing how this would work with the current selection of inmates. But the long-term vision of this would be to work with like nonprofits that are already within prisons, that are like working with like the whole like workforce reentry. We want to be able to like not be something that's like kind of like think of it like an add-on. So like if they're already having inmates participate in these programs, they're engaging with like they call them like counselors and like already on the outside, we want to be able to offer this as like a solution for them to use. That way we're bringing in their people and connecting them through this web application. So it doesn't hinder their like nonprofit, like what they're doing already. Like either if there's like a program within the prison, outside the prison, they're just adding this web application on top of it. And we want to be able to make it where like, if like you said, to opt in or opt out, if they were to participate, they're like, they bring in like, let's say they have, 4,000 inmates that they currently work with. If 1,000 of them want to opt out of this and they're no longer interested, they can opt out. But that'd be working with this nonprofit that already kind of like has a presence within the prison or outside of the prison, like their programs. So that was kind of like something we weren't able to touch on, but I wanted to kind of clarify today.
Yeah. And in terms of database, if Ash, you wanted to say anything.
Essentially, for our purposes, it was difficult to sort of connect with the bureaucrats and get actual data on inmates. So that's why we sort of resorted to what's out there publicly available. And this is from the family members and relatives of inmates who want the inmates to sort of have a correspondence or some sort of a letter writing system to them. So we sort of felt it was very relevant to currently use the data that's already out there and capitalize on it. So, but we do plan to build up more on it and connect with NGOs and inmates further to build our database and make it more comprehensive.
All right, we're out of time for questions. Sorry, we're going to have to move on to the next team. So it's going to be the fifth team is going to be Team 1, Civic Tech, Foodies.
All right. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? A hello to the judges and all of the other teams present here. We're Team 1, and our product is Product Ecosystem. Before moving on to the product, I want all of you to get to know a little bit about the team so we can introduce ourselves one by one.
Hi, I'm Ahan Agarwal, a first-year mechanical engineering major.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm a second-year cognitive science major.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a first-year linguistics and computer science major.
Hi, my name is Darren, and I'm a second-year cognitive science major.
And I am Akshay, and a big shout out to Jason for being there with us throughout the entire journey. And before telling you a little bit about the product, I want to tell you a little bit about us so that you get to know about the why behind the product. And so I want to pose a question to all of you. How many of you have faced this question in your mind, which is, I want to help, but I don't know how? And I'm sure a lot of you got this question in your mind, just because as a college student or as anyone, a lot of us know that we want to help, but there's not a lot of resources out there. And this question came to my mind a lot of the times when I was back in India. I'm an international student. I'm from Delhi. And Delhi, for those of you who don't know, is called the pollution capital of the world. And we've got a lot of pollution there, a lot of problems coming on, but not a lot of people care about them. And as a person who's interested in sustainability, I wanted to help, but I didn't know how. So I came to UCLA. And honestly, I did get into a lot of sustainability clubs now that I think about it, but it was very hard for me to find out about all of these clubs. And so I want to test all of yours knowledge on UCLA sustainability clubs. Next slide. Let's say that you wanted to, you were out of shampoo or conditioner in your room or soaps in your room, and you wanted to get them refilled. And did you all know that there's a club called Refillery UCLA, which does exactly that? It makes sustainably made shampoos, conditioners, soaps, and you can refill them for absolutely no cost. Another thing is that all of us have been wanting to move out. College is ending very soon. We have clothes to throw out. We've got shoes, stationery. And I would usually, or any of my teammates would usually go to the trash can to throw these out. But did you know that there's a program called UCLA Zero Waste? To not do that, these guys take our waste and they give it to another Bruin in need. Another thing is that a lot of people want to get into botany, or maybe I want to buy plants. I've got honestly 3 plants in my room right now. Ahan the other day, my teammate was asking me about plants, and I told him about Be Green Bruin, which is another club that exists, which gives you volunteering opportunities in farms and gardens. And so these are just 3 clubs out of the 50 different clubs present in UCLA itself. And there's a lot of wasted potential because there's a lot of clubs present who are doing all of this stuff. There's a lot of students present as well who want to get into this stuff, but there's a disconnect. And so we thought of a solution. I will pass it off to Emmy.
So in thinking about how much more we could do if a platform existed that could connect students with the sustainability leaders at UCLA, we interviewed some of the experts, some club managers at UCLA. The co-president of E3 said that people power is my club's limiting factor in being able to create tangible change in sustainability on campus. With more people, we would be able to communicate with staff to create long-term impact on campus. The technical director of EWB Uganda said, we're working towards building a clean water system for a community of over 1,000 villagers in Uganda. If we could double our club membership, we could get it done much faster. And it's clear from these testimonials that there is a major roadblock in the process of students being able to find clubs and clubs being able to get members. So let's expand on this problem. On the student side, it's very hard for them to find the clubs that they are interested in because club info is all scattered. Clubs each have their own websites, their own social media pages, etc. So it's very hard to find all of the pertinent information about a club right away. On the club side, they face low membership and engagement and a general lack of awareness in the student body. So there's this positive feedback loop of students who are very interested in sustainability not being able to find the clubs that they would really like, and clubs not being able to get the passionate members that they would need to work on their projects. And so clubs struggle with the ability to increase their club membership, communicate with potential members, standardize information, and create an enduring sense of community. Our solution to this would be an active end-to-end platform with all information about UCLA sustainability clubs in one place, a sort of ecosystem. It would enable efficient cross-club collaboration and connect clubs so that they can work together on larger scale projects that could benefit the community. It would also enable two-way interaction between students and clubs so that finding a club is hassle-free. Our goal with this platform is to increase sustainability club membership by 30% in just 1 year. So a quick overview of our product. So on the left here is our website main page, which welcomes users to ecosystem where they can sign in and explore clubs and projects right away. On the right here is a sample search and filter page where students can look through different clubs and projects and filter by keywords or their interests or project cycles or membership requirements. So a quick overview of our platform features on the student side. So as I mentioned, they could search for clubs and projects with different filters so they could really narrow down their focus to find the clubs that they're really passionate about. They can also see progress for different projects, as well as save clubs that they're interested in and come back to them later. They can also communicate directly with club leaders so that they can find out more about the club beyond what's on their webpage. On the club side, they can put all of their club meetings and events in one calendar that anyone can access, even if you don't have an account, so that students can find the information very easily. They can also invite other clubs to collaborate on projects, as well as connect with interested students to tell them more about the club. They'll also have all of their important club links on one page, which is going to be very helpful for students to find out more about the club. I will now hand it off to my colleague, Ahan.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ecosystem.
the website where you can find sustainability clubs that match your interests. A student wanting to browse clubs, projects, or volunteer opportunities can do so simply without logging in and simply by clicking on these 3 tabs that you see. Alternatively, students can quickly and safely create an account and log in, either as a student or a club management member. Let's explore the student end first. On the homepage, the student can navigate easily. They can look for open sustainability events and volunteer opportunities on campus. Students can explore clubs with the club search feature, which allows adding filters to easily sort clubs according to interests, current project cycle, or even keywords which match project descriptions. Let's have a look at an example. The EC3 club page. Here we have extremely detailed information about every aspect of the club. We have individual projects and their descriptions listed. We have available leadership positions, and if the club is currently recruiting. We also have meeting timings and places. Now, if a student does like a club, they can add it, they can view it later and apply with the My Clubs feature. If a student has a particular question which is not listed on our website, they can directly reach out to club managers with the club chat feature. So, students can also explore projects since we have a database for all ongoing and past projects. For example, the plastic to food project. Let's click on it and learn about it a little bit more. So here we have a project description, project progress stats, and information that is regularly updated by the club management. Clubs can fashion this page as in how they want it. A student therefore has all the necessary information that he or she needs before they finally decide to invest their time in the club. Finally, we have the calendar feature, a convenient way for students to keep track of their schedule. It also has a list of upcoming events they might be interested in. We'll also have a quick glance at the back end, which is the club manager side. Club leaders can update club or project information with the easy to use input information feature, which is just like a form. There's also Club Connect. This is where one club can see what other clubs are up to. Providing an easy channel of communication between club leaders, we hope to foster inter-club collaboration. This in turn increases reach and membership. Similar to the student side, we also have the calendar, where clubs can add their own events and make sure that the new events they're adding do not clash with the already existing events. Now we would like to head back to the pitch deck, and I'll hand it over to my teammate, Darren.
Awesome. Now that you've got a chance to see the product in action, we really want to deep dive into the kinds of people this will be affecting. By talking to various club leaders and people on campus, we've boiled it down to 4 personas. Linda is a first-year math major. She knows she wants to be involved in sustainability, but doesn't know how. It's very time-consuming for her to look into clubs, and oftentimes online information is outdated. Kelly, on the other hand, is more involved with her major, and she wants to find a specific project to her major to get hands-on information in the field. However, she doesn't know where to go to find this guidance. On the other hand, we have club leaders who are very, very involved. Jane, for example, is leading her club for the 2nd year and wants to provide more resources. However, she has to look for a job post-grad and doesn't have as much time to market. John wants to increase the club member retention, but he's never managed recruitment and doesn't know how or does not even want to reach out as much as he should. Now, these kinds of students exist everywhere, and we really want to focus on the homogeneous UC system. 92% of students have said that they're interested in sustainability, and this would be our total addressable market. 92% of all UC students is about 270,000 students. Now, going closer to our geographical reach is our serviceable addressable market, which is 92% of UCLA students, bringing us to about 42,000 students. And now in the short term is our SOM. Our 53% of students have said that they want to actively make sustainable lifestyle changes, and that would be about 24,000 students. Now, this go-to-market plan operates in 4 stages. Our minimum marketable product would be in the summer before fall, July 2022, with our soft launch, giving clubs enough time to upload their information to our platform. The first phase would be our full-scale launch at UCLA in September of 2022. And then in 2023 fall, we want to expand to all UC systems. If this is perfected in the homogeneous UC system, then we can look into going to other colleges. Our expansion plan relies on ecosystem being perfected at UCLA. And from there, we can offer funding, provide our specialized platform, and share the experiences and resources we've learned along the way to other chapters. We'll do this with our financial projections that my colleague Lily will now talk about.
So for the first and second year, we plan to get some grants. And then in the third year, as we expand to more and more colleges and have a bigger impact, we aim to get a corporate sponsorship. Although this is a nonprofit project and we're eligible for a lot of grants and sponsorships, we also don't want to solely rely on them. So we looked at other streams of income too. First, we will have a sustainability themed sale every quarter, which not only generates revenues for us, but also gives us an opportunity to advertise for our product. Second, we'll apply for club funding at UCLA. Third, we'll kindly ask clubs to support us by giving us a small donation. So with these 3 streams of income, excluding grants and sponsorships, we will have over $1,000 of revenue per year. And then let's look at the cost side. If you look at the website related costs, you may be surprised by how low it is. Yeah, usually it's very expensive to develop a website. However, since our business model is that we will found a club at UCLA and we will recruit students to develop the websites, that saves us a lot of money. We decided to go with the student website builders because it really allows us to be financially self-sustaining. And also we want to give all the talented students at UCLA who are passionate about building something an opportunity to gain hands-on experience and join a community service project. Then we will spend a portion of our money on marketing to make sure that students know about this wonderful product and actually take advantage of it. After that, if we have actual money, when new chapters are founded at other schools, we will give them some funding to support them and get them started. So when making this financial model, and then when we make financial decisions in the future, our principle is that we will always make sure that our revenue exceeds our cost, so that we will always have some extra money on our account in case of emergencies. And in the long run, we hope to be self-sustaining. So you may be wondering, there are so many students at UCLA and so many students in the UC system. Like, how come no one ever thought about this? Someone actually did. There is a website called community.ucla.edu. It provides basic club information of all the sustainability clubs at UCLA. However, the big problem is that most people did not know about it. So I did not know about it until I started to do this market research. The reason why is because after developing this website, no one actually tried to advertise for it. Also, when I looked up, when I was on this website, I found that they did not have any like filter or search features, which made it very difficult to navigate this website. In order to find clubs that match my interest, I had to read the descriptions of every single club at UCLA, every single sustainability club at UCLA, which was very time consuming. And then a lot of the information was outdated and ambiguous, so it wasn't really helpful to me. With our product ecosystem, we hope to offer more to both students and club members, club leaders.
All right, so now that we've got to know a little bit about what ecosystem is, here's what a lot of students who would get into ecosystem would be able to achieve. They would be able to find that the clubs that they're passionate about, identify events, get detailed information, but all in all, contribute to the sustainability at UCLA and the environment as a whole. And there's a lot of things that the club management can do as well. Something that we really emphasize on is cross-club collaboration. They will be able to maximize reach like never before, and they would actually be able to communicate with efficiently with members so that they can increase the turnout at events and finally increase membership. Judges, there are a lot of students who want to get into sustainability. My team, I, and a lot of other students who are interested in sustainability are willing to help. And there's a lot of clubs out there who are doing all of these things as well. So there's no reason for us to not have a good ecosystem. Judges, so who's ready to join us on this ride, on this journey to build a better college ecosystem? Thank you.
Questions from the judges?
Yeah, I did have one question. So for how do we vet that the clubs are actually legitimate clubs? Is there a process through the university to actually establish an official club?
Yes, the university has a database of clubs that are registered, and we're able to reach out to them to get that list.
Also, if they want to register with the site, each club is given an email, a specific email with which they would have to register with the site.
I had a question. You talk about one of the key tenets is connecting with interested students. Do you plan to have any sort of notification when a student puts a My Club, adds it to their My Club, or they're interested, registers for the club? Does it notify the club rep? Is there any sort of bidirectional marketing to that for that connection?
We were envisioning that feature as being more on the student side for students' convenience, so that they could easily find out the clubs that they're interested in and then apply.
Yeah, and to add on that, we will also give a list of students who are interested in a club regularly to the club leaders so that they can add the students to their mailing list. And students will receive like newsletters from them, which may encourage the students to apply in the end.
Yeah, and just to top off that, in general, even right now, what clubs do is they give out Google Forms in which students generally fill out. And that's how clubs are supposed to communicate. But through our platform, we've made a Club Connect platform, a Student Connect platform through which students are able to connect more efficiently. And there's going to be that general Google form as well if they want to use the traditional pathway. So both of them are options.
Question about your expansion is looking at the demo on the website, it looks like it's very UCLA focused, right? Or you're learning about clubs in your current school. So are you building one website or is the goal to build one website that can scale to not only UC-wide, but other colleges as well? Or is it different tenants and different instances of the website where everyone is in their own school portal, for instance, and they can't go across schools or see information about other clubs that may be at a different school from where they are?
We're envisioning, go ahead. Okay. We're envisioning that we will have like subsections of the website. So when a student logs on, the student will be directly directed to the clubs and projects within his or her school. However, if they just want to know about like what other schools are doing and like what projects other schools are working on, they can still do that.
And just in addition to that, something that I have been involved in sustainability since a long time, and a lot of my teammates also have a lot of experience. And something about sustainability is that you want to make a unified system in which you can get to know about what other people are doing in sustainability as well. And that's why we wanted it to be one platform through which you can go into different schools and get to know about them. There's a lot of opportunities at UCLA as well, where we just go around LA doing things which are sustainable, like having volunteering opportunities around LA. And that's not really school specific. So we don't want to restrict every portal to one school. We wanted to make it more of a thing where everyone can get in. If you're not even in the school, you can get in, sign in, and get to know about all of these projects and opportunities and participate in them.
Well, that's a good distinction. I was assuming this was only for students. You're saying this is open to the general public. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's why we've got a different section, which is not only joining clubs. It's a section where we have all the projects listed as well, which are going on, and all of the volunteering opportunities listed as well. And there's nothing really which is specific to a school, which is in this project. So it is open to be viewed by anyone, and volunteering can happen in that segment as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, that actually maybe addresses one of my questions, was going to be, how are you dealing with account lifecycle management? If it was targeted solely to students, there's a life cycle of being a student and joining a student club. Have you thought about that, or is it you're saying this then becomes in perpetuity because you're going to have public volunteering opportunities as well?
Yeah, I can build on Akshay's point here, and that's a great question. So there is a student cycle where, like, generally club leaders and people heavily involved in the clubs are students, but people have a very passionate connection with their alma mater. So we really want to reach out to that, like, alumni connection, so people in the area who end up staying can always be part of these projects. And so, of course, they probably won't be on mailing lists or student connects, but you can browse through our project database. And so you can have a very hands-off approach in being involved in a club and see a specific project that you would want to be involved with. And through that, I think it will actually expand people's involvement, so they don't have to be involved in weekly meetings, calls, things like that. They can only do on-hand groundwork.
Any other questions? All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you. So finally, our last team is team 3 at Tech 2, Dukas.
So before we get started, I just want to say we're all so grateful to have the opportunity to watch such amazing presentations, but I'm sure Zoom fatigue is real for everyone, which is why we're saving the best for the last. I'm just kidding, but thank you for staying engaged with us through this demo. And Sarah, would you like to take over now?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. So welcome to Ulexia, where we will join hands to create an equitable future for education. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to EdTech 2's presentation. Our team name is the Dukas, and we named it after Nikola Tesla's mother. And we're here to present to you Ulexia. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk a little bit about our name. So we took the base word dyslexia. Dys means bad, the prefix dys, and lexic means words. But we wanted to turn that a little bit on its head. So we added the prefix U, meaning good. So instead of being bad at reading words, students can be great at reading words. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay. Imagine you saw this every time you opened a book, read a textbook, or looked at a sign. That's the reality for most students who deal with dyslexia. To navigate through the difficulties of dyslexia, my group and I have developed an app that targets young students' specific needs. We have created a platform for students and educator collaboration, where students can strengthen their reading skills in a fun and effective way. Now, before we continue, I'd just like to take a moment to introduce my team and our positions within this project. Hi, my name is Sarah. I was one of the project managers for this team.
Hi, everyone. My name is Malika, and I'm the other project manager.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rakib, and I worked on the design for our project.
Hello, I'm Cohen, and I'm part of the research team.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I served as the researcher, and I'd like to give a big shout out to our team coach, Rob Maxwell. To start off, dyslexia is a common learning disability that affects one's ability to read or interpret words, letters, and other symbols. It affects 15 to 20% of the population, which means 40 million adults in America are dyslexic. However, only 2 million of those adults have been diagnosed, which means that a large population of around 38 million are unaware they have dyslexia. Another staggering statistic is that dyslexia represents 80 to 90% of people with learning disabilities. Furthermore, boys are 2 to 3 times more likely to suffer from this disorder than girls. Finally, children can demonstrate symptoms of dyslexia as early as 3 years old. Hopefully, these statistics convey how prominent and widespread dyslexia is.
So when we researched the current educational environment for students with dyslexia, we identified many problems that could hinder their learning process. We looked at what different schools offered for students with learning disabilities and also interviewed Professor Marks, who provided us with a personal account of what dyslexic students struggle to endure with limited resources and support. We identified mainly 4 problems, with first being lack of resources, including inadequate technology and counseling. From currently developed apps that aid learning disabilities, we found lack of specificity towards students with dyslexia in particular. Moreover, services provided for students with learning disabilities were not only extremely limited, but also inaccessible by time and money, which leads to a next problem, inadequate financial support. Existing services and counseling required often high cost that was burdening for average families to support their students with dyslexia.
To learn more about the educational disparity between students with dyslexia and their peers, we interviewed Professor Victoria Marks, who serves as a chair of UCLA's Disability Studies minor. She has a unique background in creating choreography with themes about dyslexia. One quote that we have from her is, "I presume that education is built around certain ableist normative ideas on how we learn. There's a strong emphasis on visual and auditory attention, so schools are not really designed around neurodiverse learners. Automatically, students with a learning disability are at a disadvantage." This quote demonstrates the need for specific resources and support for students with a learning disability, since they are not on the same playing field as their classmates in terms of learning styles. We also interviewed Emmy Say, who is the CEO of Noji, which is a vocabulary app that achieves game-like learning experiences. According to her, a parent with a dyslexic kid has a lot of pain. Which parent would want to have their child fall behind in class? A friend's child comes home crying every day after school because he cannot keep up with his peers. He's otherwise a very happy and confident kid. Every parent is heartbroken to see their kid like that. From this quote, we can understand the frustration and challenges that parents and students go through when faced with dyslexia. There is a need for better accommodations and help for people going through these difficulties, and this is what our app hopes to serve.
So you might be asking yourself, who is this app dedicated towards? Well, this slide here demonstrates an example of our user profile. Christian is a student who would be a great candidate. He's a 3rd grade student who was recently diagnosed with surface dyslexia. His hobbies are just like any other student. He likes walking his dog, cooking, and washing the dishes. His favorite subjects are reading and history, both of which are strongly based in reading. His particular type of dyslexia causes him to struggle with whole word recognition and spelling. It's also noted that he fumbles a lot on his words. Dyslexia can vary from person to person. There are different types of dyslexia, which means that individuals will see different things when they read. Our product aims to help students just like Christian and other students who have different types of dyslexia as well. We want to make sure that they are able to catch up to their peers and learn about all of their favorite subjects. But finding one comprehensive solution for all students with dyslexia has been really difficult. That's why in our product, experts will be collaborating with students such as Christian to provide specialized support, specifically on their individual type of dyslexia. On the other end of user profile is parents. So they will also be very involved in each step of the way. Professionals will be interacting with parents of dyslexia, so parents of children who have dyslexia, so that they can provide feedback and the proper advice. If someone such as Christian uses the app, we hope that parents can see their progress through these comprehensive reports by experts.
So basically, after having identified the current problems and interviewing Professor Marks and Ms. Emise, we brainstormed as a team and came up with 4 efficient solutions to support students who have dyslexia. Now, since we're working with kids who are aged 5 to 12, we knew we had to have something that actually appeals to them, and that's exactly why we have games. These diagnostic games are designed to assess a child's strengths and weaknesses across a range of intellectual abilities. So, for example, we have phonological awareness, we have memory, visual and spatial awareness, processing speed, and verbal practice. So a learner can select which area they would like to focus on, and they can then play fun games to work on their skills. Next, we have a study space. I think one of the most important dyslexia study tips is to create an appropriate study space. With the help of our app, learners will be able to reduce distractions in loud environments by a provision of a noise blocker. We also have background sounds like light music and calming nature sounds like drizzle and light wind, which can be optional in case the user wishes to mask loud noises to improve their focus. Next, we have a phonetic dictionary, which helps learners to look up spellings of words by how they sound. And finally, we have external involvement, which basically means that after each level of the diagnostic game that the child plays, a report can be generated to help parents with what level their child is at and what sort of help is required exactly. So, like based on Ms. Emise's recommendations, we also have a connection with medical professionals and educators who help to devise study plans so that parents who are so confused and already so heartbroken don't have to go out of their way to figure out how to help their child. And for this reason, introducing Allocation, a comprehensive platform for students who live with dyslexia.
Thanks, Malika. So now I'll walk through the prototype of our product. Oops. So what you're looking at is the homepage, and we initially decided on a space theme to represent learning and educational improvement as a journey to unknown limits. So specifically, we're on the home screen for a learner. As a learner, you can see a brief overview of your current progress here at the top. Underneath that, you can see which games would be best for them to play next based off of their current progress. Below that is a focus space section, where you can set up a timer to keep them focused with options for ambient noise or a virtual study partner. These features, as well as auxiliary features such as the phonetic dictionary and the settings page, can also be accessed through the footer tab. First, let's take a look at the total progress page. For any of the 4 main game subjects, you can expand the tab and see the breakdown of your current progress. Each game is represented by a badge. You can see that this user has successfully completed 4 of the memory games for the level. You can also see which games they are by clicking on the badge. For example, this badge is for short-term memory, and this badge is for the sensory memory game. Now let's take a look at the game section. You can play games by clicking on any of the options in this section. You can also view these games in more context by going to the games page. Here, in addition to which games you need to play next, there's a visual indicator of the next steps that you have to take in order to reach the next game level. You can also view a description of each game before you play it, with information such as game content and expected duration. Under the game section is the focus space. You can set up a quick session with limited options here, or you can go more in depth on the dedicated focus space screen. You can adjust settings such as work time, break time, how many cycles you want to work for, which type of ambience you want, and whether or not you want a study partner. The last feature on the learner view is the phonetic dictionary. Here, users can type in how they pronounce a word, and the dictionary will return the correct spelling and its definition. Now let's take a look at the parent view. In this view, you can also view total progress, but instead of badges, you can see the breakdown of successful attempts of games that your child has done over different periods of time. From this graph of success rate, you can see that this person's child has gotten a lot better at successfully completing the games since they started using the app. There are also personalized external resources based on the learner's strengths and weaknesses. You can also view the recent activity of the learner in this section in context of weeks, days, or months. The day view contains more information about what the learner was able to accomplish in their activity time. For example, on May 28th, they spent 45 minutes on Alexia, attempted 5 games, and successfully finished 3 of those games. By comparison, on May 27th, for example, they spent 35 minutes, only attempted 3 games, but successfully completed all 3. The parent screen also contains some external resources for, that parents of children with dyslexia might find useful. This concludes the brief technical demonstration. Thank you for watching. I will now pass it on to Megan to introduce our product roadmap.
Thank you, Rakib. Moving on, we have our product roadmap. For the first 3 months, we are planning to focus on professional consultation, which entails developing and creating games while researching with professionals. The following time block involves volunteer participants that would test the efficacy of the games and create user output. From month 18 to month 24, we will consider volunteer outputs to make changes and reassess our app. It will depend on professional assessment and feedback for the step. Finally, the last 3 months will mark our school implementation stage, where we will partner with educators to better understand our target audience's needs.
Thanks, Megan. I would also like to briefly discuss on how Alexia runs in comparison to other similar apps on the market. As of now, there are quite a few learning apps in the educational space. Many of them target children and they focus on developing reading and writing skills. However, most of them don't have dyslexic students in mind. Most of these apps can help the general population, but not neurodivergent learners. Popular apps such as Khan Academy and ABC Mouse will teach early reading skills, but they have little to no resources for children with learning disabilities. Learning should be accessible to everyone regardless of their background. Even apps that are specifically for dyslexic students, such as Dyslexia Quest, simply don't have the features that we have. Again, dyslexia is really difficult to treat as a monolith. This is why it's really important for live educational experts to work alongside with students to provide live feedback and provide the best support possible. Expert advice is crucial in dyslexia, and it's crucial in dyslexia, and it really helps in bettering students' reading skills. We also uniquely have a designated study space, which will create the necessary ambiance for dyslexic students to study. Now, Cohen will be talking a little bit about our user growth.
So based on market research of other apps, we predict that our platform will be able to gain roughly about 50,000 users by year 5, with an average of 24% increase in app downloads each year. So let's take a look at a simplified version of our budget sheet. So looking at the revenue, our main source of revenue is from research fees, which is what we gain from sending user data to research institutions and organizations such as International Dyslexia Association and Learning Disabilities Association America that use this data for their studies. They also focus on study of students with learning disabilities and students with dyslexia in particular. And indeed, we will be informing the user of this information in the privacy policy of the platform under the collection and use of non-personal information. The policy would include lines that we collect non-personal information, data in a form that does not permit direct association with any specific individuals. We may collect, use, transfer, sell, and disclose non-personal information, but they will be encrypted and they will not be we hopefully will be using for study purposes. For example, when an individual uses our services, we may collect data about how long a user takes to complete tasks in the games or how much they engage with the daily tasks provided. These are for us and also for other institutions to better understand how to improve games and to understand the study behaviors of the dyslexic students. So a record of one individual is sent to an organization with an average of $86, which is how we can accumulate the amount shown in the sheet. So with the current revenue model, we are able to support our expenses and raise an earning of 1.5 million by year 5. So this is the story we wanted to tell with our platform. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We all have our personal ties with people with learning disabilities and dyslexia. We're extremely grateful to have the opportunity to develop this idea. And we are grateful for everyone who helped us in this progress. Thank you so much, and let us know if you have any questions.
Questions from the judges?
Sure. So I was curious, you mentioned, the importance of live expert feedback, and I was wondering if is that something you're anticipating building into the app in some way, or is that more aggregate feedback to continue improving the app?
I can go ahead and take this one. So our plan with live educators is to have the educators work personally with students at school. So hopefully these educators are at school and they are specialized in dyslexic teaching or teaching for neurodivergent learners. And so we hope that they can take their educational lessons beyond school, kind of like homework, but to have a more direct impact in it, just because these students will need a little bit more help and direct action from supervisors. So we hope to have those professionals from the get-go, so as soon as we launch this app. So it's very much a collaborative effort. But I hope that answers your question. Did that answer your question?
So it does, but I guess one follow-up, in the demonstration, you showed kind of the learner portal and a parent portal. Would you imagine then also having kind of an educator access so that they could be seeing student progress alongside the student and the parent?
Yes, absolutely. So we will have an educator portal along with it, but it won't be, I don't think it would be like in an app. It would be more so kind of how you do your work on your laptop and so on. So it is part of the program. However, they're the ones inputting information. So they won't receive reports. They are writing reports and helping parents get those reports. So of course they can see the reports, but they're also the ones writing them. So yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have a targeted age population? And would that be scaling over time in terms of, are you starting with the younger kids and then working? Because I would imagine that you need to develop different games and different processes related to different age groups. Can you talk about your age groups?
Yes, so I think we mentioned this in the presentation previously. For now, we're targeting the age group 5 to 12.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Thank you.
And to add on, because we're specifically targeting ages of 5 to 12, our game is more developed so that it's engaging, especially the games and the other features are developed so ages of 5 to 12 can receive the appropriate help and also be able to engage with them in an appropriate manner.
So since there's a parent portal and a child version of the app, how do you link the accounts to make sure that the children and the parents only see the child's information?
Yeah, well, when you sign up with the app, ideally the parent would put in their contact information, and then within the app, you can just switch back and forth between parent and child. So it's not over the cloud or anything. All the data is local or within the parent's account.
So the child could go and look at the parent section?
Yeah, they could, but it's their own data and their own success rate. So we didn't think that would be very harmful for them to look at.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of following up on that, with your target users being 13, well, less than 13, there are definitely children in the US jurisdiction and in most of the global jurisdictions as well. And there's some COPPA privacy laws associated with that. And I think this is probably where Leah is trying to hint at. And so there are solutions that can help to make sure you properly protect children's information in the platform. My question to you is, I see that in the revenue side, there's a line for app access. I'm assuming that means subscription to the app. So is this a parent-led or parent-driven experience that the parent creates, or it starts out with the parent, they pay for the app, and then they create an account for their child to use? Or what's the user flow when you go through the application? Does it start with the child or the parent?
So I could give a little more context on the app access on the revenue model. So we do intend to implement a subscription fee. So of course, like most of the features on the app will be accessible when you first enter the app, but you can go on to access more features by approximately $7 per month. And this could include full reports of the child to the parent and connection to the experts/counselors in more accessible times, and customized game plans for the child. So the subscription fee and the the app access is more like another revenue source, so we can gain the initial stages of money to support our app.
That explains that. And how about the user flow, the experience? Is this, do you expect this to be the parent who starts and engages with you, or is it the children who discover the app and start using it?
Yeah, since our target age for children is very young, we intended this to be something that the parent would sign up for and download on their phone, and then allow their children to use with supervision.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, team.
Thank you so much.
All right. At this point,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for hanging in there. It's 9:30. We're ready to announce the winner. The winning team is Ubuntu, Social Tech 2. Lini is the coach from JPL, and congratulations. I'm gonna let the judges actually, say their praises and final remarks about the whole competition today.
Well, to start, I was super impressed by all 6 teams and how prepared everyone was and how passionate everyone was, and providing really good presentations with financials and everything. So for me, it was pretty close. I did feel though that Ubuntu was #1, and please sign me up as a mentor when you have your product available. So thank you. Happy to participate.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone. I think it was an amazing evening. I am always just absolutely blown away by this event. You all are clearly passionate about what you do and committed, and the teamwork was obvious in all of the effort. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Yeah, I couldn't second that more. I read all the materials ahead of time. I was extremely impressed by the work from every single one of the teams here. And frankly, you answered our questions and you did them very well without really any stuttering, and not literal stuttering, but you had answers for us. That's very difficult to do, especially since you have no idea what we're going to ask you. Special shout out to Ulexia. I really did enjoy your UX, the UI and UX that you showed in your prototype. As a person who has teams of folks that build software, I just thought that was really nice to see what you did in a short time, and I was impressed. And then, of course, with our winning team, it was not only was it an incredible story of one of your team members, but it was super engaging right from the get-go. It's really difficult to do these presentations, and you guys arrested my attention. And then, of course, you had working code. You provided your code. That always gets a techie like me going. And you had a working prototype. That was pretty good. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I just thought, again, well done. I never cease to be amazed by what the generation after me can do. It's one of those I look and I'm like, gosh, I was nowhere near that impressive when I was that age. So well done to all of you. I mean, I completely agree. And second, the UI, UX, I think did really well, but I actually thought several of the products had really impressive, kind of well thought out design that would be intuitive. I think while we all were listening from an objective perspective, there were a number of things where, I really hear the language app. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those people. I have signed up for more than one and I have quit every single one because they're not engaging and they don't catch you. Or, the Alexia, I happen to have younger children. I'm quite thankful neither of them, at least to my knowledge at this point, have, any kind of atypical neuro situation where we've got to accommodate, which I'm very fortunate, but I totally get it. And even some of the apps they do use in the classroom and at home, some of those features that you guys started to spell out, again, as a parent, really resonate. And so I think as I listen to each of you, each of the groups, you're all really tapping into what is the underlying user need, the problem that people have out there that isn't being solved, and how are you using technology to solve it, which to me is what technology is all about. So I think, well done to all the teams. And yes, I mean, the Ubuntu, there's something to be said for tapping into a problem that, you and the people you're working with deeply know and understand. And, personally, I appreciated, it felt like a very seamless thought process between the non-digital piece of the problem that needed to be solved with the digital component as well. It wasn't all technology. It actually was pretty well thought out. So I thought I wanted to acknowledge and give some kudos for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Thank you, everyone. So the winning team is I'm gonna coordinate with Lenny. The winning team is gonna get a tour of JPL. That's the prize for the winning team. So I will coordinate that with Lenny. And fortunately, he's at JPL. So I'll coordinate with Lenny, see if we're gonna do the official tour or maybe unofficial tour from Lenny, but that's gonna be the prize for the winning team. So I'll coordinate with the team and we'll get that also scheduled. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. If you're interested in hiring these talented students, please reach out to me. If you're interested in speaking, if you're interested in coaching, please reach out to me. This is, we're building a community here of talented UCLA students. So this community is growing. I probably already have 3 coaches lined up for the fall quarter. So the next time we're going to offer this is the fall quarter, and that's going to be an implementation track. So basically a full stack, building a full stack. This was the ideation track, and then fall quarter is going to be implementation, and hopefully it will be a hybrid, in-person